Chapter 174 How Tall is the Demon Lord? Super large chapter of 5,000 words. The girl patted her chest and said, I hope so. The old man steadied himself, trying hard not to overthink. He had also noticed that many people had trodden the path beneath their feet. Yet, even being so close to a personage like the Demon Lord, the old man still felt fear from the bottom of his heart. Grandpa, you're too timid, the girl couldn't help but say. Timid, the old man thought helplessly to himself, but didn't know how to retort. Just then, in front of the path that the girl and the old man were traveling, a tall man appeared silently. The tall man stood there quietly, seemingly lost in thought. Upon seeing this, the girl immediately grinned and laughed. Grandpa, look. It's not just us on this road, there are others who want to get a closer look at the Holy Land, the girl immediately said. That's good. The old man breathed a sigh of relief. The tall man stood there without a hint of a cultivator's aura. To the old man, this was a sign of safety. If even ordinary people could get close without harm, they probably wouldn't have any problems either. Having walked along this path for so long without encountering anyone, the girl, upon meeting the tall man, immediately went up to strike up a conversation. Are you here to observe the Holy Land too? Observe the Holy Land? The tall man turned his head, glanced at the girl, and didn't answer. Don't be shy. Apart from observing the Holy Land, who else would come here? Thinking the tall man might be shy, the girl approached and said, It's just as well we met. You can come with us. My grandpa is really powerful, a great master of the 5 domains. The girl extended an invitation. The tall man remained unmoved, neither accepting nor declining. This made the girl somewhat exasperated. What's with this guy, acting like a mute? Did he even understand what she was saying? Let me put it this way, my grandpa is a 9th realm powerhouse. Do you know what the 9th realm is? The girl couldn't help but reveal some home truths. In the 5 domains mainland, there are fewer than 100 9th realm powerhouses, and my grandpa is one of them. If you follow us, you don't need to worry about safety. Were you picked up by your grandfather? Finally, the tall man spoke up, his voice deep and magnetic. He hadn't detected the by-family bloodline in the old man. Ah, how did you know? The girl's eyes widened. She was certain she had not told the tall man about this matter. Could it be that you are? The girl's eyes lit up. Are you a fortune teller, someone who can divine? Did you realize instantly that I'm not my grandfather's biological granddaughter? The old man vaguely sensed something and his voice trembled slightly, not even daring to look directly at the tall man. But at that moment, his voice was so faint that the girl did not notice it at all. I didn't think you actually had some skill. I always thought those fortune tellers were just scam artists. The girl became interested. The tall man's ability to immediately see that she was not related by blood to the old man was obviously no simple matter. Come. Help me see when I can become a powerhouse like my grandpa. The girl stood on tiptoe, patted the tall man on the shoulder, and said, Don't worry, as long as you're accurate, I won't skimp on your reward. Let me tell you, my grandpa has a lot of treasures. Just take your pick of any. Seeing the girl actually daring to pat the tall man on the shoulder, the old man felt a rush of blood to the head and started to grow dizzy, his legs trembling, nearly collapsing right there and then. And it was precisely as the girl stood on tiptoe to pat the tall man on the shoulder that the air seemed to solidify. One after another, figures appeared all around. The aura emanating from each figure was that of a 9th realm peak. No fewer than 29th realm peak powerhouses stood quietly a short distance away. The leader among these figures exuded an aura that surpassed the 9th realm. However, all these figures appeared behind the girl, and considering her low power level, she didn't notice anything amiss and remained unaware. But whereas the girl was oblivious, the old man next to her sensed everything very clearly. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, his legs shook uncontrollably, and he was nearly about to kneel on the spot. Retreat. The tall man stood with his hands behind his back, speaking indifferently. Suddenly, every figure that appeared vanished swiftly, as if by command. The alley returned to its original state. Only the old man knew what had just happened. He and the girl had nearly walked through the gates of death. You remind me of an old friend of mine. The tall man smiled faintly. He reached out and gently touched the girl's head. Ouch! The girl didn't understand why, but facing the tall man's gesture, she had no intention of resistance and stood there dazed. Go back. Practice well. The tall man raised his right hand. With a gentle wave, the old man and the girl felt darkness before their eyes. When they opened their eyes again, they found themselves 50 miles away once more. Grandfather, what was that? The girl was a bit bewildered. It took her a long while to react. What had just happened? Wasn't she just talking with the tall man? Bye. Only the old man had recovered his senses. He directly grabbed the girl's collar. Then, he sprinted in the opposite direction of the underground palace. Several hours later, thousands of miles away from the underground palace, the old man finally stopped. Fear still lingered on his face. Do you know who that was just now? The old man took a deep breath, raised his hand to slap the girl but couldn't bring himself to do it. Ah! Who was he? The girl blinked her eyes. By now she had also begun to realize. Demon Lord. He is Demon Venerable Xiahou Yuan. The old man's voice trembled as he spoke. He is the Demon Lord? Bei's eyes widened once again. After a long while, Bai suddenly remembered a question. It was a question she had been too embarrassed to ask before, but having just met the Demon Lord and survived, she naturally wanted to ask it aloud. Grandfather. Everyone says Demon Venerable Xiahou Yuan is unfathomably tall. So how tall is he really? The girl looked at the old man full of anticipation. How tall? The old man seemed to see the tall figure of the man flashing before his eyes once again. He should be as tall as the heavens, I suppose. Chapter 175 World Consciousness Descent. Please subscribe. It's just, the elder suddenly remembered something. He examined the girl over and over again. If he hadn't seen wrongly just now, did the girl stand on her tiptoes and pat that tall man on the shoulder? If that tall man was the Demon Lord, didn't that mean the girl had patted the shoulder of the Demon Lord? Such an audacious act, and yet they both managed to come out alive, was simply inconceivable. That was Demon Venerable Xiahou Yuan. A ruthless person who could flatten Tianjin Mountain with one stomp. At that moment, when he saw the girl reaching out to pat the other's shoulder, fear clouded his consciousness. However, unexpectedly, nothing happened afterward. She resembles an old friend. The elder remembered a sentence said by the tall man. Could it be that this granddaughter he had picked up was a descendant of an old friend of Xiahou Yuan? For a moment, the elder was puzzled. After thinking for a while, he decided not to think further about it. No matter what the girl's relationship with the Demon Lord was, she was his granddaughter. Having lived together for over 10 years, their bond was like that of family, if not by blood. The underground palace. Lin Yuan's gaze reached far towards where the elder was. Descendant of the Bai family, Lin Yuan's expression was calm. The descendant of the Bai family was Xiahou Yuan's deepest bond. Just now, when Lin Yuan appeared in front of that girl, he reached out and touched her head, and casually transmitted a strand of primordial qi to her. This strand of primordial qi could subtly improve the girl's aptitude. With this primordial qi, entering the 9th realm in the future would be no difficult task. Lin Yuan's action also served as a complete severance of the original ties between Xiahou Yuan and the Bai family. The 5 domains. Lin Yuan's gaze was profound. Under his command, the demonic Tao forces unified the 5 domains mainland with terrifying speed. It wasn't that Lin Yuan wished to claim the throne of the 5 domains, rather, he wanted to spread the martial Tao cultivation system as widely as possible. Only by unifying the 5 domains could he openly propagate martial Tao, which was Lin Yuan's true purpose. During the few hundred years he would stay in this world, he wanted to fully integrate the martial Tao cultivation system into the 5 domains. That way, even if he were to leave one day, or even if the demonic Tao forces were overthrown, the martial Tao cultivation system wouldn't necessarily disappear. Just like a star colonizing movement, colonizers would spread their culture and language as extensively as possible on the colonized planet. Thus, even if the colonizers were to be driven out and the colony became independent, it would likely still use the language and culture of the colonizers. There are countless evolution paths in the main world, each standing alongside strong practitioners. Even a martial path evolutionary path, no matter how excellent, couldn't compete with those that had existed for tens of thousands or even millions of years. Therefore, why not open up a new battlefield and spread one's evolution path through other worlds? Even though the scale of other worlds was far less than the main world, like the current 5 regions world, which at most was comparable to a higher-grade life planet in the main world, one could not ignore the sheer numbers. With the door to the myriad realms, Lin Yuan could spread it an infinite number of times. Furthermore, even if there are 100 billion citizens on a high-tier life planet in the main world, how many can truly cultivate a certain evolution path? In other worlds, Lin Yuan believed that with his means, he could make the martial Tao cultivation system the mainstream system of cultivation. That is, the first cultivation system that all beings would prioritize to practice. Day after day, as the years accumulate, what do those super-strong beings in the main world have to compare with Lin Yuan? Although I'm not sure what use there is in spreading the evolution path I created, or what its relationship with the ultimate leap is, there's no harm in it for me, just a small effort required, thought Lin Yuan privately. After all, no matter how many people practiced the martial Tao cultivation evolution path, it wouldn't affect Lin Yuan. And as for worrying about his descendants surpassing Lin Yuan, the founder, if it were the founder of an ordinary evolution path, there might be such concerns. But as for Lin Yuan, with his against heaven's understanding, not to mention the latecomers, even the trailblazers would be quickly caught up by Lin Yuan. The successors wouldn't even qualify to look up to him, let alone surpass him. My lord! At that moment, a voice came from outside. Come in, Lin Yuan said as if he had anticipated it, nodding his head. Soon, a figure walked in with utmost respect. It was Situ Ming. 100 years had passed, and with Lin Yuan's assistance, Situ Ming had successfully advanced into the 10th realm. He was the first among Lin Yuan's subordinates to reach the 10th realm. A perfect vessel indeed. Lin Yuan looked at the respectful Situ Ming and thought to himself. Situ Ming's body was a 5-colored lotus, with both flesh and primordial spirit coming from Lin Yuan. Therefore, in Lin Yuan's eyes, Situ Ming was the most perfect vessel for consciousness descent. In simple terms, if Lin Yuan's physical body were destroyed, he could directly take residence in Situ Ming's body. The two would be a perfect match without needing any time to adapt. Of course, in Lin Yuan's eyes, Situ Ming's usefulness was far greater than just being a vessel for descent. With Lin Yuan's current strength, even if all the powerful beings of this world attacked together, they wouldn't be sufficient for him to slap away. The only threat to Lin Yuan was the consciousness of the world itself. There was no need to prepare any vessel for descent. I need you to do something. Lin Yuan looked at Situ Ming and slowly spoke. Please speak, my lord. Situ Ming immediately responded formally. To say the least, even if Lin Yuan asked him to take his own life right now, Situ Ming would execute the command without hesitation. 140 years from now, I will leave this world. At that time, you will take my place, ensuring the spread of the martial Tao cultivation system. If there is any sign of its decline, intervene to prevent it, Lin Yuan stated. All things cannot escape the passage of time. Though over the past century, the martial Tao cultivation system had already spread widely throughout the 5 domains mainland. Chapter 176 World Consciousness Descent. Please subscribe. _2 More and more people began to practice martial Tao. But as time passed, there could be many accidents. And Situ Ming was the contingency plan left by Lin Yuan, the best candidate to protect the path of martial Tao. Situ Ming wasn't of the human race. His true form was a 5-colored lotus, possessing a longevity that spanned over 10,000 years. Moreover, with Lin Yuan there to aid his cultivation, entering the 11th realm before his time limit was no issue. With such a protector, Lin Yuan naturally felt at ease. After all, Situ Ming's physical body and primordial spirit were both bestowed by him, ensuring absolute loyalty, and even as time passed, no other thoughts would arise. As for what to do after 10,000 years, once Situ Ming passed away, Lin Yuan felt that if martial Tao could exist for 10,000 years in the Five Domains mainland, it would surely have taken deep root, making it impossible to erase even if one wished to. And even if something unexpected really occurred, there would be nothing Lin Yuan could do, as 10,000 years was not just a distance, but an immensely long span of time. Yes. Situ Ming agreed without hesitation. If the demonic Tao forces are threatened, Situ Ming asked cautiously. He meant to ask whether he should intervene to maintain control over the Five Domains if the demonic Tao forces could no longer maintain their rule in the future. You don't need to concern yourself with that. Just ensure the continuation of the martial Tao heritage. Lin Yuan waved his hand. Ensuring the transmission of a cultivation system and ensuring the transmission of a unified power are not the same in terms of difficulty. The latter is full of hidden dangers, and if Situ Ming truly dared to meddle, even with the strength of the 11th realm, he might not come out unscathed. Situ Ming wasn't Lin Yuan, who had the power to crush everything. The fact that 11th realm powerhouses had once emerged in this world indicated the possibility of more appearing in the future. Lin Yuan, on the other hand, didn't care. With the strength of the 16th realm, no amount of 11th realm fighters posed a threat to him. Besides, Lin Yuan had left some trump cards for the demonic Tao forces, ensuring that they would continue to rule the Five Domains for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years after his departure. You may leave. After today, you need not show yourself in front of others, Lin Yuan instructed. Just observe the Five Domains from the shadows. As you command. Situ Ming felt somewhat disheartened. He vaguely sensed that his master was giving his last words? But how could that be possible? A 10th realm powerhouse lived for 2,000 years, and his master crushed 10th realm fighters as if stepping on ants, so why would he be giving his last words so soon? Watching Situ Ming's departing figure, Lin Yuan fell into contemplation again. To fully integrate the martial Tao cultivation system into this world, Lin Yuan had made 3 preparations. The first preparation was the unification of the Five Domains. To spread the martial Tao cultivation system in the most orthodox way. The second preparation was having Situ Ming, the protector, to ensure that the martial Tao cultivation system could still be spread steadily after his departure, capable of facing and resolving any accident that might occur. The first 2 preparations were for unexpected situations under normal conditions. They covered nearly all possibilities. As for the third preparation, Lin Yuan targeted the world consciousness of this world. The world is conscious. This was something Lin Yuan had vaguely sensed during his first travel. In the martial world, when Lin Yuan finally began to touch its upper limits, he felt a pressure coming from the heavens and the earth, like a whale stranded on the beach. This was the world consciousness rejection. As for the second and third worlds he traveled to, Lin Yuan never had this feeling, solely because those 2 worlds were special. In the Dragon Tiger world, there were items like the true martial sword and primeval demon spirits from higher realms. Its world level was vaguely elevated, so Lin Yuan never felt rejection in the end. The Divine Arms world was even more akin to being incomplete, with parts of its laws extracted by the ancient godly beings to create divine weapons, leading to the world's consciousness being weakened. In this current world, Lin Yuan could faintly sense the will of the world. What is the world consciousness? It has no joys or sorrows and is similar to the artificial intelligence of the main world, constantly maintaining the operations of the world itself. Lin Yuan's third preparation was to prevent the world consciousness from deliberately suppressing the martial path evolutionary path. If the world consciousness detested the martial path evolutionary path and under its own evolution, even with the presence of the protector Situ Ming, the martial path evolutionary path might not last long and could disappear through various accidents. World consciousness, Lin Yuan murmured softly. The world consciousness was not a tangible entity. If Lin Yuan wanted to meet with the world consciousness, it could be difficult or not, depending on the approach. The simplest method was through the Children of Destiny. The Children of Destiny are products born from the outburst of the world's grand fortune, targets of the world consciousness' keen attention. If Lin Yuan found a child of destiny, he might be able to communicate with the world consciousness. Of course, even without a child of destiny, there were still ways to force the world consciousness to appear. That is, by destroying this world. Lin Yuan naturally would not employ this method, but it could be used to intimidate the world consciousness. Child of destiny, Lin Yuan pondered. Over 100 years ago, the Taiyin primordial spirit had once glimpsed those 3 children of destiny, remembering their auras. But soon after, these 3 children of destiny disappeared from the 5 domains mainland. Lin Yuan speculated that under the empowerment of the heavenly and earthly movements, they must have encountered some extraordinary fortunes. "I'll wait a bit longer." After pondering for a moment, Lin Yuan sank back into cultivation. With his current level of strength, as long as those 3 children of destiny reappeared on the 5 domains mainland. Chapter 177 World Consciousness Descent, Subscription Request, _3 They could perceive it in an instant. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, several years had gone by. In a certain purple bamboo forest in the eastern region. Thunderous roars. A series of booming sounds came forth. Suddenly, 3 figures soared into the sky. A vast, distant aura wildly dispersed. The area within tens, hundreds, even hundreds of miles, was all enveloped by a terrifying aura. "Ha! We're out, we're finally out." Xiaohua, Yang Bixin, and Shenlang, the 3 of them laughed wildly. Their clothes were tattered, but their eyes shone with extreme brightness. Over a century, they had endured endless torment underground and had finally passed the test, emerging through their own strength. And after such a long time of cultivation, their strength had leaped from the peak of the 9th realm to the 10th realm. And not just the 10th realm but the peak of the 10th realm. Furthermore, in the underground world, the trio had discovered a joint attack skill. After they perfected it, their combined attack could withstand opponents from the 11th realm and even the 12th realm. After a long time, the 3 vented their emotions. They started gathering together to discuss what to do next. Our current strength could dominate a region even 10,000 years ago, and if we use that secret technique, maybe even demon venerable Xiahou Yuan. Shenlang said this but stopped short, his gaze revealing a hint of ambition. The underground world century had been a persistent nightmare because of demon venerable Xiahou Yuan. If the 3 of them could defeat Xiahou Yuan, no, just withstand him, or even just save their lives from him, that nightmarish influence would completely vanish. With their minds fulfilled, even striving for the 11th realm might successfully happen. Then, Xiaohua also felt slightly excited, about to ask when they would seek out Xiahou Yuan. Suddenly, just then, a deep, magnetic voice came through. "No need to look for me." In an instant, the heavens and earth turned upside down, the sun and moon lost their light. A mysterious aura filled the area for thousands of miles. Under the shocked gazes of Xiaohua, Yang Bixin, and Shenlang, a towering figure approached from the horizon, each step seeming to compress space. In just a few steps, he stood before them. "I came by myself." This towering figure stopped, looking down at Xiaohua and the others. Demon venerable Xiahou Yuan. Xiaohua's scalp numbed, his spirit shuddering, feeling as if the power of the 10th realm within him had completely succumbed to stillness. In front of Xiahou Yuan, Xiaohua felt he wasn't the invincible fighter of the 10th realm, but rather a baby, a mere ant. How can he be so strong? Shenlang felt utterly disheartened. The sensation Xiahou Yuan gave them now was far stronger than that of the primordial spirit from a century ago, by 10-fold, 100-fold. During these 100 years, not only had they made significant advances, Xiahou Yuan had also been refining his skills continuously. Even refining at a pace much faster than theirs. Xiahua opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But then he saw Xiahou Yuan, suspended in the sky, raising his right hand toward them. Boom! A terrifying aura instantly began to compress. Xiaohua and the others suddenly spat out blood, their consciousness beginning to blur. Are we going to die? Yang Bixin slowly closed her eyes. However, just then, a cold, vast consciousness appeared silently. Xiaohua slowly stood up, his eyes, which had been red, now turned pure gold. He looked up at Lin Yuan. Though looking up, there was a sense of looking down. As if heaven were looking down on all creations. World consciousness. Lin Yuan withdrew his hand, placing it behind his back. You've finally shown yourself. Chapter 178 Trade, Crossing the Seas, the 11th realms beyond the 5 domains. Xiao Hua stood erect, his eyes a pure golden color, void of any emotional fluctuation. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan was not surprised. For him, Sidu Ming was the perfect vessel, and he could dominate his body with just a thought. After all, everything about Sidu Ming was bestowed by Lin Yuan, who couldn't resist him, and he didn't even harbor the thought of resisting. Similarly, in the eyes of the Supreme World Consciousness, the perfect vessel is naturally the child of destiny. Whenever the World Consciousness wishes, it could descend into the body of the child of destiny at any moment and take control of everything. Faced with the descent of the world will, the child of destiny couldn't resist, and no matter how strong, it was pointless. Years ago, Lin Yuan planned to force the world consciousness to appear through those 3 children of destiny. Regrettably, the 3 children of destiny had disappeared from the 5 domains mainland a century ago. Until moments ago, the aura of the 3 children of destiny re-emerged, and Lin Yuan immediately rushed over. Actually, Lin Yuan had no intention of killing the children of destiny. He was merely feigning a murderous intent to test the waters. Even if the world consciousness did not appear in the end, Lin Yuan intended to hold back. After all, the children of destiny are the favored ones of the heaven and earth's grand fate, the spokespersons of world consciousness, and killing them directly would be too wasteful. Rather, it was better to slowly refine the traces of grand fate from their bodies, which might prove useful to him. However, Lin Yuan was fortunate, as this slight probing managed to force the world consciousness into appearance. Lin Yuan speculated that the world consciousness valued these 3 children of destiny so much because it had invested a lot in them. If it were 100 years ago, these 3 children of destiny would only possess the strength of the 9th realm. Even if Lin Yuan decided to hunt them down, the world consciousness might not necessarily intervene. A child of destiny of the 9th realm, even if one died, cultivating another one wouldn't be difficult. But the 10th realm, especially these 3 children of destiny, being at the peak of the 10th realm, just a hair's breadth from the 11th realm, Lin Yuan even sensed a kind of homogeneous aura from them. If the 3 joined forces and stimulated the homogeneous aura within their bodies, they could utterly unleash the power of the peak of the 11th realm or even the 12th realm. To cultivate these 3 children of destiny, the world consciousness obviously had also invested a lot, and wouldn't allow them to die easily at the hands of Lin Yuan. State your demands. With pure golden eyes, Xiao Hua spoke in a flat tone. At this moment, his own consciousness was in a deep slumber, completely replaced by the world consciousness, making him the most powerful existence in this world. So powerful that even Lin Yuan couldn't match him. But the world consciousness isn't a living being. Everything it did had to follow rules, far from being as unrestrained as Lin Yuan. I want the martial Tao cultivation system to be eternally inherited in this world, thriving for tens of thousands of years. Lin Yuan spoke. Without the tacit approval of the world consciousness, even if Lin Yuan made many preparations, the martial Tao cultivation system would struggle to endure. Lin Yuan might not face any mishaps while he was present, but as soon as he left this world, under the suppression of the world consciousness, it might once again nurture another child of destiny specifically to eradicate the martial Tao cultivation system. Impossible! Xiao Hua directly refused. As the absolute dominion of this world, he was very clear that the cultivation system from the 1st realm to the 10th realm was the most suitable for this world. As for the martial Tao cultivation system, while not weaker than the native cultivation system, the world consciousness faintly realized that allowing this path to rise in the 5 domains was not a good thing. This cultivation system, which clearly bore the mark of a specific existence, could influence him if allowed to develop over a long period. Compared to the 3rd world that Lin Yuan traveled through, the Divine Arms world, this world's world consciousness was much more intact, able to make decisions that were most beneficial for itself. Impossible, Lin Yuan's expression remained unchanged. Since the world consciousness hadn't immediately left, it indicated that there was still room for negotiation, and Lin Yuan's initial demand was rather steep, Yet there was still significant room to step back. Outside the purple bamboo forest, Yang Bixin and Shunlang's faces were pale. When the world consciousness descended into Xiaohua, it casually threw them out. Clearly, it didn't want these two to overhear the direct conversation between Lin Yuan and itself. Lin Yuan had no objection to this. Xiaohui, Yang Bixin's lips trembled slightly. The power of Xiahou Yuan, that formidable devil, far exceeded their imagination. Before meeting Xiahou Yuan, the three of them were full of ambition, devising a series of plans. Such as what to do if Xiahou Yuan struck first, what to do if they attacked first, and how to save themselves if they couldn't defeat Xiahou Yuan, among others. However, when they actually faced Xiahou Yuan, the three realized how naive their ideas were. Ambition? A series of plans? No amount of preparation could bridge the gap in absolute power. In front of Xiahou Yuan, the three were like ants waiting for judgment, incapable of any other action. If it weren't for Xiaohua at the end. At that thought, Yang Bixin and Shunlang exchanged glances. As powerhouses at the peak of the 10th realm, they were certainly far inferior to Xiahou Yuan, but they could instantly determine that Xiaohua was replaced by the world consciousness. They also realized that Xiaohua seemed like a different person. And Xiaohua's transformation directly caused Xiahou Yuan to stop and even expelled them, not allowing them to hear the conversation between the two. Could it be? Shunlang harbored a guess in his heart. He had received the heritage of an 11th realm powerhouse from 50,000 years ago, knew many secrets of the world, including descriptions of the world consciousness. Chapter 179 Trade, Crossing the Sea, and the 11th realms beyond the 5 domains _2. However, within the description of the 11th realm powerhouses, the world consciousness is referred to by another name. Heavenly Dao, or the Heavenly Lord. What should we do now? Yang Bixin asked in a low voice. She glanced toward the direction of the purple bamboo forest. At that moment, it appeared hazy, almost like another world. What should we do? Shunlang thought for a moment and said helplessly, let's just wait here. He understood what Yang Bixin meant, questioning whether they should take the chance to leave. However, they had just emerged from the underground world, and in a brief moment, Xiahou Yuan appeared. This meant that it was extremely easy for Xiahou Yuan to find them. With Xiahou Yuan's strength, even if they took the chance to leave now, as long as he still harbored the intent to kill, they could not escape. Instead of that, it would be better to continue waiting and see how the conversation between the two inside concluded. If Xiaohua persuaded Xiahou Yuan, they could justify not fleeing. If the persuasion failed, even if they fled to the ends of the earth, they would still face death. Upon hearing this, Yang Bixin fell silent. With her intelligence, she could think of these points too, yet she was too shocked and momentarily asked such a question. About half an hour later, under the watchful eyes of Yang Bixin and Shunlang, the hazy space near the distant purple bamboo forest gradually became clearer. Seeing this, Yang Bixin and Shunlang did not make any hasty moves but waited another 2 hours before mustering the courage to approach it. Soon, they found Xiaohua lying unconscious in the original spot. As for Xiahou Yuan, he had already vanished without a trace. The two quickly went forward, helped Xiaohua up, and began using their methods to treat his injuries. Not long after, Xiaohua slowly woke up. What happened? Xiaohua felt a splitting headache, as if some gigantic object had been stirring him for days and nights. Yang Bixin and Shunlang immediately told him everything they knew. I felt like I had become a different person. Xiaohua steadied his mind and frowned in thought. The three conversed for a while longer. Unlike when they had just emerged from the underground world, Xiaohua and the others no longer dared mention Xiahou Yuan. Under the vast sky, Lin Yuan pondered deeply. He had just talked with the world consciousness for a bit over half an hour and had barely reached a consensus. The world consciousness promised to allow the martial Tao cultivation system to spread in this world, not directly or indirectly interfering with it. And this also met Lin Yuan's expectations. As long as the world consciousness didn't act against it in secrecy after his departure, Lin Yuan's contingency plan should ensure that the martial Tao cultivation system could be safely passed down for tens of thousands of years. And tens of thousands of years later? It was estimated that by then, a great number of people would have advanced far in the martial Tao cultivation system to ensure its ongoing legacy. Of course, the world consciousness made such a concession, also because Lin Yuan had made a promise. The eye of the North Sea. Lin Yuan slightly lifted his head, staring into the distance toward the north. Accurately speaking, to the north of the endless sea domain. Over 100 years ago, Lin Yuan had felt that there was a black hole emerging there, ceaselessly devouring the primordial qi of this world. And this black hole was what the world consciousness referred to as the Eye of the North Sea. The Eye of the North Sea appeared in this world tens of thousands of years ago, suddenly. Since then, the primordial qi of heaven and earth began to slowly decline, losing the support of primordial qi, and the upper limit of the world gradually fell. The world consciousness also made efforts, and over tens of thousands of years, every time a 10th realm powerhouse was born in the 5 domains mainland, under its guidance, they went to the Eye of the North Sea to attempt to seal or suppress it. But the effect was minimal. At best, they could only prevent the Eye of the North Sea from expanding. Yet, every moment, the Eye of the North Sea continued to devour the primordial qi of this world. Lin Yuan also learned from the world consciousness that the place where the strongest gathered the most was not the 5 domains mainland. It was in the region of the Eye of the North Sea. For tens of thousands of years, the world consciousness, in an attempt to resolve the Eye of the North Sea, continually hinted at the strong to go there. Generation after generation, these powerhouses gradually settled in the region around the Eye of the North Sea. As a result, the region around the Eye of the North Sea was not lacking in 10th realm powerhouses, and there were even 11th realm powerhouses. The world consciousness must be cultivating those 3 sons of fortune, hoping to use them to suppress the Eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Combined, those 3 sons of fortune could unleash combat power at the peak of the 11th realm and even the 12th realm. Even in the region of the Eye of the North Sea, they would be considered among the top powerhouses. The Eye of the North Sea. Lin Yuan's eyes turned deep. His promise to the world consciousness was to do his best to repair the Eye of the North Sea but didn't guarantee success. However, even without the conversation with the world consciousness, Lin Yuan would have eventually made a trip to the Eye of the North Sea. After all, allowing the Eye of the North Sea to continue devouring the primordial qi of this world and causing the world's upper limit to decrease was detrimental to Lin Yuan. Cultivation would also be suppressed. Eventually, if it continued, one day, this world would be devoured. Then what Tao would Lin Yuan pass on, having painstakingly laid out the martial Tao cultivation system, only for it to be devoured along with the world? Let's go. Let's make a trip to the North Sea. Lin Yuan did not even return to the underground palace but flew directly north. Now in the 5 domains mainland, stability had been achieved. Even if there were remnants of power rebelling from 100 years ago, they could not affect the overall situation. Nuan Shu, Moyang Demon Lord, and others rigorously governed the 5 domains in accordance with the rules set by Lin Yuan, so major issues were unlikely. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yuan had left the range of the 5 domains. He arrived above the endless sea domain. Chapter 180 Trade, Crossing the Sea, and the 11th realms beyond the 5 domains understood the terrifying wind and waves were blowing wildly, making it extremely difficult for ordinary warriors of the 6th and 7th realm to move even an inch. However, all the wind and waves calmed down completely within 100 yards of Lin Yuan. Above the stormy sea, the area near Lin Yuan appeared as though another world had formed. No wonder only those from the 10th realm are summoned by the world consciousness, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Even for warriors of the 9th realm, passing through this sea area would be challenging. North of the endless sea domain, a white tower stood tall. Atop the tower, a chubby man was sitting cross-legged. Only 20 more years, then I can go back and take a good rest. The chubby man sighed. Even a 10th realm powerhouse, sitting here for decades or centuries, would find it tedious in the company of the vast sea. I wonder when the Eye of the North Sea will disappear. I've heard that in that direction, there's the 5 domains mainland, far larger and more vast than North Sea Island. The chubby man silently thought to himself. Having been born and lived on North Sea Island, he naturally longed for the so-called Five Domains mainland. It's just that Master Nalen and a few vice masters don't allow us to leave, the chubby man grimaced. Master Nalen and the vice masters are the 11th realm powerhouses of North Sea Island and the Endless Sea Domain, ruling high above, commanding many warriors to jointly suppress the Eye of the North Sea. Huh. It seems like someone is coming? The chubby man seemed to have noticed something and immediately focused his gaze on a spot to the south. On the vast sea surface, a streak of escape light was approaching fast. Could it be a 10th realm powerhouse from the Five Domains mainland? The chubby man's eyes lit up. He had long known that, every once in a while, 10th realm powerhouses from the Five Domains would come to join the suppression of the Eye of the North Sea. However, as time passed, the 10th realm powerhouses coming from the Five Domains seemed to decrease steadily. The most recent one arrived almost 10,000 years ago. I heard that these powerhouses from the Five Domains mainland are initially very arrogant and unbridled. Everything about them just needs a little reminder, the chubby man suddenly thought. The 10th realm powerhouses from the Five Domains mainland were generally invincible existences, extremely proud in nature. Suddenly arriving at North Sea Island, a place filled with strong warriors, they definitely found it hard to adapt. Swoosh! The chubby man flew up immediately, ready to greet the new arrival from the 10th realm and caution the newcomer not to make any mistakes on North Sea Island, especially not to offend those few. The chubby man was thinking when, just then, boom! Several streaks of escape light flew from behind. They were also flying toward the newly arrived 10th realm? Ah! The chubby man widened his eyes. Master Nalen and several vice masters. The chubby man took a deep breath, recognizing the escape lights coming from behind. They were indeed the 11th realm powerhouses of North Sea Island and the Endless Sea Domain. Does that person have a grudge with the master and vice masters? Seeing Master Nalen and several vice masters personally coming, the chubby man couldn't help but feel sorry for the new 10th realm arrival. However, the next moment, under the shocked gaze of the chubby man, Master Nalen and several vice masters flying toward the new 10th realm arrival suddenly stopped, and slightly bowed, respectfully saying to the new 10th realm, "We greet you, sir." Chapter 181, Sealing the Eye of the North Sea, 120 years later. Subscription requested. Do you know me? Lin Yuan immediately understood. It must be the world consciousness that notified the powerful beings around the Eye of the North Sea. The world consciousness is aloof. Even 9th realm and 10th realm powerhouses do not have the qualifications to contact it. If it weren't for the fact that Xiao Hua and the other two were about to die by Lin Yuan's hand, the world consciousness would not have descended. But it was different for the 11th realm powerhouses. The 11th realm powerhouses can be said to be the limit of this world. For hundreds of thousands of years, the strongest were only at the 11th realm. Lin Yuan had made a deal with the world consciousness to come here and try to resolve the hidden dangers of the Eye of the North Sea. The world consciousness naturally made prior arrangements with the 11th realm powerhouses in this area to prevent any mistaken incidents. Yes, Master Nalen and several vice masters said respectfully. At this moment, Master Nalen's mind was shaken. It was not long ago that he received the directive from the Heavenly Tao, instructing him and his people to welcome an important figure. A person who might completely resolve the issue with the Eye of the North Sea. Under the directive of the Heavenly Tao, they all had to obey this person without any dissenting thoughts. In short, after this person's arrival, the several 11th realm individuals and many 10th realm powerhouses on North Sea Island were all subject to this person's commands. Although Master Nalen found this puzzling, he could only comply. Very good. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. He was quite satisfied in his heart. The world consciousness of this world had considered everything thoroughly. But then again, given that this related to the future of this heavenly earth, the world consciousness would naturally try its best to avoid any accidents. However, Lin Yuan looked around. The farther north he went, the more Lin Yuan could feel the concentration of heavenly earth vital energy increasing. Here, it was almost 10 times that of the Five Domains mainland. This was not hard to understand. For hundreds of thousands of years, the eye of the North Sea had acted like a black hole, devouring heavenly earth primordial chi from all directions. This caused the concentration of heavenly earth vital energy in the 5 domains mainland to continuously decline. Where did all the heavenly earth vital energy go? Naturally, it went into the mouth of the eye of the North Sea. However, as the eye of the North Sea consumed massive amounts of heavenly earth vital energy, the concentration of vital energy around it naturally rose dramatically. Just like a long river flowing into the sea, as the water flows into the ocean, it irrigates numerous fields along both banks. Lin Yuan speculated that the concentration of heavenly earth vital energy where he was now was close to the peak from hundreds of thousands of years ago. This level of primordial chi concentration increased the closer one was to the eye of the North Sea. No wonder there are so many at the 10th and 11th realms. Lin Yuan thought to himself. In the 5 domains mainland, a 10th realm powerhouse might be born every thousands or tens of thousands of years, and as for the 11th realm, there has been none for 50,000 years. If not for the few ancient records, perhaps people would think the 11th realm was a legend. Yet near the eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan could sense the presences of dozens of 10th realm powerhouses and 6 11th realm powerhouses. Among them were Master Nalen and the 5 Vice Masters. Master Nalen's strength was at the peak of the 11th realm, only a half step away from the 12th realm. If so many powerful beings were to emerge, it undoubtedly required an extremely high environmental demand. However, with the rich heavenly earth vital energy here, under the beckoning of the eye of the North Sea, the thriving of so many powerful beings by converging all the world's primordial chi here is not unthinkable. Lead me to the eye of the North Sea. After asking a few casual questions, Lin Yuan directly said, "This way, sir." Master Nalen immediately led the way for Lin Yuan personally. The other 5 Vice Masters also closely followed. The group then headed towards the location of the eye of the North Sea. In the distance, a plump man just watched as Lin Yuan, surrounded by Master Nalen and the 5 Vice Masters, headed towards the direction of North Sea Island. Why are the Master and Vice Masters so respectful? The plump man couldn't believe it. Had it not been for seeing it with his own eyes, he could hardly imagine that the usually authoritative Master Nalen and the 5 Vice Masters would exhibit such a servile side. Who is that person? The plump man's concentration once again focused on Lin Yuan. Initially, the plump man thought Lin Yuan was a newcomer from the 5 domains mainland at the 10th realm. But now, it seemed his assumption was massively mistaken. A mere newcomer at the 10th realm wouldn't cause a stir even for him, let alone for Master Nalen and the Vice Masters. If only I didn't have 20 more years of my guard duty, I would definitely follow and investigate. The plump man sighed. He was obligated to guard the tower for this century and couldn't leave. Under the guidance of Master Nalen and the 5 Vice Masters, Lin Yuan soon arrived in front of an island. To call it an island would be an understatement. It was more like a small continent. Although it couldn't compare with the 5 domains, it was home to several hundred million of the human race. The auras of the dozens of 10th realm powerhouses Lin Yuan had sensed earlier came mostly from this island. This island, we all call it North Sea Island, Master Nalen explained by his side. The eye of the North Sea is over there. Master Nalen raised his hand and pointed. In the north of North Sea Island, a faint black line was visible. If one looked closely, it would appear as a deep abyss-like void. Every moment, an immense amount of heavenly earth vital energy surged into this void. So, Master Nalen led Lin Yuan to the front of the eye of the North Sea. Compared to viewing it from a distance, being close to the eye of the North Sea was even more awe-inspiring. It resembled a crack in the world, pitch black as night. Chapter 182 Sealing the Eye of the North Sea, 120 years later, subscription requested, _2. Around 800,000 miles in radius, Lin Yuan roughly estimated the range of the eye of the North Sea. The eye of the North Sea expands slowly on a regular basis, and 9 10th realm warriors are enough to guard it. But every 100 years, the eye of the North Sea will expand wildly for a period. At that time, along with several deputy island lords, will take action and operate the sealing skill to suppress, but it's of little use. The eye of the North Sea is still slowly expanding. I remember thousands of years ago, the eye of the North Sea was only 750,000 miles in radius, now it's approaching 800,000 miles. As Master Nalen said this, a trace of worry appeared on his face. Following this trend, in another 100,000 years, the eye of the North Sea will expand to a radius of 2 million miles. At that time, with the eye of the North Sea displaying an attitude of devouring heaven and earth, they, even if sacrificing their lives, would not be able to suppress and contain it as they can now. I see. Lin Yuan nodded slightly, having a clear understanding in his heart. Bring me all the secret techniques you use to seal the eye of the North Sea to examine. From Lin Yuan's observations, the few 10th Realm warriors guarding the 4 directions of the eye of the North Sea were employing suppression techniques that had a very good restraining effect on the eye of the North Sea. Although the eye of the North Sea was still slowly expanding, under the suppression of the secret techniques, the speed of expansion was noticeably slower. Lin Yuan speculated that this suppression technique might come from the world consciousness, and even if not, it was formed under the covert guidance of the world consciousness. This is the secret technique used to suppress the eye of the North Sea. Without hesitation, Master Nalen took out a jade stone which recorded the secret technique Lin Yuan had spoken of. To suppress the eye of the North Sea as much as possible, Master Nalen had already disseminated this technique widely. Even if Lin Yuan didn't ask for it, once back on North Sea Island he could easily obtain it. Thank you. Lin Yuan accepted the jade stone. Lin Yuan returned to North Sea Island with Master Nalen. Suppressing the eye of the North Sea was not something that could be done overnight. To Lin Yuan, visiting the eye with Master Nalen and then returning to the island was nothing out of the ordinary. North Sea Island. A great cave mansion. This cave mansion was the one with the most abundant primordial chi on the entire North Sea Island. It should have belonged to Master Nalen, but with Lin Yuan's arrival, it was naturally to be occupied by Lin Yuan for the time being. This is really comfortable. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and a large amount of the heavenly earth vital energy, which had condensed to substantial form, flowed into his nostrils. Although for someone at Lin Yuan's level, this amount of heavenly earth vital energy was a drop in the bucket, compared to the barren, 5 domains mainland, it was undoubtedly dozens, no hundreds of times better. All right. Time to get down to business. Lin Yuan's expression became slightly more serious. From his observation during the day, Lin Yuan knew that the eye of the North Sea was beyond the power of humans to contend with. Even if Lin Yuan were more powerful, he could not directly resolve the situation with the eye of the North Sea. The best method, just like what Master Nalen and others were doing, was to use the sealing skill to suppress the expansion of the eye of the North Sea. With this in mind, Lin Yuan's consciousness merged with the jade stone, beginning to browse the sealing skill. The eye sealing skill, the name is pretty straightforward. Lin Yuan glanced over the name of the secret technique and shook his head slightly. The eye sealing skill was divided into 4 levels. Entry, minor accomplishment, major accomplishment, perfection. Generally, only those who cultivated this secret technique to the state of major accomplishment were qualified to go and suppress the eye of the North Sea. Like Master Nalen and the 5 deputy island lords, they had cultivated this technique to the state of perfection. Lin Yuan began to repeatedly observe this secret technique. Your comprehension is against heaven's understanding, observing the secret technique, eye sealing skill, and you have comprehended the innate eye sealing skill. Several days later, Lin Yuan comprehended the innate eye sealing skill from the original eye sealing skill. Beihado. A great cave mansion. Master Nalen and the 5 deputy island lords sat facing each other. That person, what exactly is his background? One of the deputy island lords couldn't help but ask. They didn't doubt the instructions of the heavenly Tao for a moment, it was just that Lin Yuan came from the side of the 5 domains mainland. In their eyes, the heavenly earth vital energy of the 5 domains mainland was long since mostly drained by the eye of the North Sea. It was extremely difficult to even give birth to a 10th realm warrior, So how could someone possibly emerge who could completely resolve the existential threat posed by the Eye of the North Sea? Are you questioning? Master Nalen glanced at that deputy island lord. Not at all, not at all. I'm just curious. The deputy island lord quickly shook his head. What a joke. Who dares question the will of the heavenly Tao? There's no need to be curious. Since we have received the heavenly Tao's instructions, our full cooperation with that person is imperative. There's no need for further thought. Doing our best is all that's required. Master Nalen said indifferently. Upon hearing this, the other vice masters immediately cast their eyes downward and fell silent. Exactly how should we cooperate? After issuing the warning, even Master Nalen couldn't help but mutter to himself. From receiving Lin Yuan until now, the latter had behaved in a perfectly regular manner. From every aspect, he didn't seem to have the capability to solve the Eye of the North Sea issue thoroughly. Half a month later, Lin Yuan followed Master Nalen to the Eye of the North Sea once again. Gazing at the pitch-black void of the Eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan's gaze was calm. After half a month of comprehension, with his against heaven's understanding, Lin Yuan had not only cultivated the eye-sealing skill to the state of perfection. He had also founded the innate eye-sealing skill and flawless innate eye-sealing skill based on that secret technique. In particular, the flawless innate eye-sealing skill was many times more ingenious than the original eye-sealing skill. Of course, the flawless innate eye-sealing skill required cultivation above the 15th realm to be activated. That's also why, for tens of thousands of years, the practitioners of the 10th and 11th realms of the North Sea Island had always used the eye-sealing skill. It was certainly because their understanding fell far behind Lin Yuan's. Another reason was that, with their strength, they were utterly unable to promote the transformation and fundamental change of the eye-sealing skill. All right. Have them all withdraw. From today onward, the Eye of the North Sea is in my hands. Lin Yuan spoke up. At these words, Master Nalen's pupils shrank slightly. Ordinarily, guarding the Eye of the North Sea required at least 9 10th realm powerhouses to stand guard from every angle and direction. In doing so, they could contain the Eye of the North Sea's expansion as much as possible. But now, if Lin Yuan made the 9 10th realm powerhouses withdraw, wouldn't that leave the Eye of the North Sea to expand unchecked? It wasn't that Master Nalen doubted Lin Yuan's strength, but the Eye of the North Sea was too huge, spanning a full 800,000 miles in radius, and the strength of a single person simply couldn't cover it all. My lord, a vice master at the side was about to speak up and dissuade. Do as he says. After pondering for a moment, Master Nalen directly instructed. Yes. The other vice masters, seeing this, immediately stood up and cleared out the 10th realm powerhouses from around the Eye of the North Sea. As they ceased their guard, the diffusion of the Eye of the North Sea noticeably sped up. My lord! Upon seeing this, Master Nalen's heart bled internally. Given the current size of the Eye of the North Sea, even if it expanded by a meter, the rate at which it devoured the heavenly earth vital energy would dramatically increase. This is bad. The Eye of the North Sea is beginning to expand wildly. The vice master who first spoke seemed to sense something and his face turned pale. However, before he could say anything more, he witnessed an unthinkable scene. Lin Yuan, who had been standing beside them, instead of backing away, suddenly took a step forward and swiftly ascended above the Eye of the North Sea. Immediately after, he released his radiant Yang spirit and wandering Yin spirit, his formidable Tai-Yin primordial spirit and Tai-Yang divine spirit, tens of thousands of feet tall, stood at either end of the Eye of the North Sea, while he himself sat enthroned above it. An overwhelming suppression power surged out, enveloping the entire Eye of the North Sea, preventing it from expanding even an inch, no matter how much it tried to. Even as time passed, the Eye of the North Sea was actually shrinking. The vice masters were dumbstruck. For tens of thousands of years, the Eye of the North Sea had always been expanding, and no matter how hard they tried, it had never diminished in the slightest. The world has been saved. Master Nalen looked up at the figure above the 2 monumental primordial spirits and murmured to himself. Such rich heavenly earth vital energy. Atop the eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan felt enveloped by boundless heavenly earth vital energy. Throughout the suppression of the eye of the North Sea, the heavenly earth vital energy from the entire world hadn't dissipated, but continued to flow towards the eye of the North Sea. However, since the eye of the North Sea was suppressed and couldn't absorb the heavenly earth vital energy, it naturally all went to Lin Yuan. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 120 years had passed. Chapter 183 Return, please subscribe. North Sea Island. The 10th Realm powerhouses chatted leisurely, occasionally glancing at the eye of the North Sea, which had shrunk to 100 meters across. Over these 100+ years, their lives had been both comfortable and shocking. It was comforting that they no longer had to guard the eye of the North Sea and didn't have to face the profound depths that seemed as unfathomable as the abyss. And watching the eye of the North Sea shrink day by day was a pleasure to their spirits. As for the shock, it all came from one person. The mysterious superior being who surpassed their tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of years of achievements with his own power alone. Over these 100+ years, that mysterious superior being sat above the eye of the North Sea, his two primordial spirits having reached 1,000,000 zhang tall, each standing on opposite ends of the eye of the North Sea. I'm telling you, I almost personally received the superior being. If it wasn't for Master Nalen and the Vice Masters taking the limelight, I probably would have been the first to speak with the superior being, a chubby man boasted proudly, not mentioning his initial thought, which was to remind Lin Yuan to keep a low profile when coming to North Sea Island. Who knows what background this superior being comes from, how such a powerful being was born? A slim 10th Realm powerhouse couldn't help but mutter. True dragons can't be raised in shallow waters. This is common knowledge to cultivators. But the mysterious superior being who completely suppressed the eye of the North Sea, relative to them, was much more than a true dragon, wasn't he? Let alone the superior being himself, just the 2,000,000 zhang tall primordial spirits he had sent out made them tremble in their hearts and minds. All right, Master Nalen and the Vice Masters have already said not to discuss the superior being in private. Violators will be punished, a stern-looking 10th Realm powerhouse said in a low voice. I was just saying, I didn't speak ill of the superior being. The slim 10th Realm powerhouse immediately shook his head. Besides, if Master Nalen and the Vice Masters forbid us from discussing him, do you think they don't talk about that mysterious superior being themselves? He couldn't help but say. If Master Nalen and the Vice Masters have forbidden it, they definitely abide by it themselves, spoke the stern-looking 10th Realm powerhouse earnestly. What do you think, how strong is the superior being? 14th Realm? Or 15th Realm? Inside the Behedo, a great cave mansion, Master Nalen and several Vice Masters also gazed in the direction of the eye of the North Sea. One of the Vice Masters thus expressed his astonishment. The higher their strength and realm, the more they could feel the terror of Lin Yuan. Such a dreadfully powerful force, far transcending the limits of this world, curbed any thought of resistance in them. Not sure, but I think the superior being must have already transcended the divisions of realms. The heights at which the superior being resides are indescribable and incomprehensible to us, said another Vice Master in a low voice. No wonder Heavenly Dao hinted that we should comply and heed the superior being's words. A third Vice Master pondered with a contemplative expression. Master Nalen looked calmly at the distant eye of the North Sea. Most of his time over the past 100+ years had been spent watching the eye of the North Sea slowly vanish, and Master Nalen's concerns faded little by little. After our generation, countless generations of descendants will never have to face the threat of the eye of the North Sea. Master Nalen's awe for Lin Yuan grew greater, almost to the point of outright reverence. It's just, there was always one doubt in Master Nalen's heart. Why was the heavenly earth vital energy still flowing unceasingly towards the North Sea even though the eye of the North Sea had been completely sealed? Above the eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Ever since the eye of the North Sea had shrunk to 10,000 li, he recalled his yin god and yang spirit back into his body because he alone could suppress the eye of the North Sea at this scale. This is really comfortable. Lin Yuan looked quite pleased. He didn't fully suppress the eye of the North Sea but left a small gap, allowing it to continue inhaling and exhaling the heavenly earth vital energy of this world. As the boundless heavenly earth vital energy arrived here, it was naturally snatched up by Lin Yuan for cultivation. In other words, for these 120 years, the eye of the North Sea had been working entirely for Lin Yuan, gaining not the slightest benefit and continually shrinking. 18th realm. Lin Yuan breathed out softly. By then he had reached the 18th realm. Of course, the 18th realm is a term from this world. According to the Human Civilization Alliance of the main world, it would be considered 6th rank, 12th level. What a pity, stepping into the 6th rank isn't something that can be solved just with primordial qi, Lin Yuan mused silently. In the main world, advancing from the 5th to the 6th rank is harder than the combined difficulty of advancing from the 1st to the 5th rank. The 5th rank is the continent sinking rank, while the 6th rank is the fallen star level. A qualitative change exists between them, and bridging that gap is no easy feat. While there is the 4th rank as a cushion between the 3rd rank city destroyer grade and the 5th rank continent sinking rank, there is no such cushion between the 5th and 6th rank. The evolver must break through on their own. Even with a complete evolution path to guide them, it is incredibly challenging for ordinary evolvers, let alone Lin Yuan, the founder of the martial Tao evolutionary path. Although Lin Yuan had many evolution paths for reference, including those transcending the 6th rank and even the extremely mysterious Xian Huang evolutionary path, taking reference is one thing, but continuing to create the 6th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path is another matter entirely. It's about time. Lin Yuan glanced at the eye of the North Sea beneath him. In fact, Lin Yuan had the power to completely seal the eye of the North Sea already 30 to 40 years ago. Chapter 184 Return, please subscribe. _2 However, in order to continue enjoying the vast heavenly earth vital energy brought by the inhalation and exhalation of the eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan had forcibly dragged on until now. It seemed that the world consciousness of this realm had noticed, but it had no way to intervene. The world consciousness still relied on Lin Yuan to deal with the eye of the North Sea, so it was impossible to fall out with him at this time. Only now. Lin Yuan had already reached the 12th segment of the 5th rank, and his subsequent cultivation had little to do with the external primordial qi. Moreover, with only a little more than 10 years remaining until his stay limit, there was no need to continue lingering here. Suppress. With this thought, Lin Yuan looked down at the 100-meter radius of the eye of the North Sea below. Boom boom boom. Under the terrifying suppression, once again, it cascaded downward. The 100-meter-wide eye of the North Sea immediately began to shrink again. 90 meters. 80 meters. 70 meters. Just as the eye of the North Sea had shrunk to 10 meters. A terrifying consciousness pierced through the eye of the North Sea, reaching Lin Yuan's ear. Cease your actions. This terrifying consciousness emitted psychic fluctuations that allowed Lin Yuan to intuitively understand the meaning it conveyed. Cease your actions? Lin Yuan let out a slight smile, unconcerned. Over the years, he had long surmised that behind the eye of the North Sea stood a powerful being. Because when he observed the eye of the North Sea carefully, with his against heaven's understanding, he would occasionally enlighten himself to some devouring secret techniques. Of course, these devouring secret techniques were not comparable to the devouring heaven evolution path, but it was obvious that they belonged to the unique skills of some powerful existences. Lin Yuan originally thought that the existence behind the eye of the North Sea would remain silent until it was completely suppressed. Only he did not expect that the other party would ultimately lose patience. As long as you cease your actions, everything is negotiable. The terrifying consciousness sounded somewhat urgent. We can make a deal. The terrifying consciousness continued to emit psychic fluctuations. I'm not interested in deals. Lin Yuan did not cease his suppression, and the eye of the North Sea continued to shrink. To be precise, Lin Yuan had little interest in making deals where there was too great a disparity between the parties. The existence behind the eye of the North Sea was at least a powerhouse beyond the 6th rank, and making deals with such a being was akin to negotiating with a tiger for its skin. Who knew when he might fall into the other party's hands? Lin Yuan was willing to make deals with the world consciousness because the world consciousness was not a sentient being, without emotions like joy, anger, sorrow, or personal feelings. Moreover, Lin Yuan had means to contend with the world consciousness if necessary. In the worst-case scenario, he could just destroy this world, and nobody would benefit. But the existence behind the Eye of the North Sea? Lin Yuan didn't think he had any means to restrain it. Instead of worrying about fear, it was better to avoid contact altogether. Boom boom boom. The Eye of the North Sea continued to shrink. 5 meters. 3 meters. 1 meter. At last, the terrifying consciousness that originated from the depths of the Eye of the North Sea began to curse. An invisible psychic attack swiftly penetrated Lin Yuan's primordial spirit. Unfortunately, Lin Yuan's Yin spirit and Yang spirit had united as one, forming the Taiji primordial spirit, immensely stable, augmented by the psychic defense secret technique, Mind Palace Tower. Faced with a psychic attack that originated from the depths of the Eye of the North Sea, its power unknowably weakened by many times, he naturally had nothing to fear. Ultimately, several days later, the Eye of the North Sea shrank to a speck finer than a strand of hair. With a slight motion of Lin Yuan's mind, the speck fell into his hand. With such a size, the Eye of the North Sea no longer posed any threat. It couldn't even perform the inhalation and exhalation of heavenly earth vital energy anymore. Whoosh! Lin Yuan's figure vanished. He appeared above North Sea Island. By this time, Master Nalen, along with the 5 deputy island masters and many 10th realm individuals, had long been waiting in their place. When the Eye of the North Sea continued to shrink down to 10 meters, Master Nalen and the others realized that the greatest threat looming over countless powerhouses in this world might become a thing of the past. Therefore, they had led everyone to wait here early on. After all, once the Eye of the North Sea was fully dealt with, the mysterious powerful individual would naturally appear. You have lived here for thousands, tens of thousands of years. Lin Yuan looked towards Master Nalen and the other powerhouses. The thousands, tens of thousands of years here referred not to a single generation but to generations upon generations. Since hundreds of thousands of years ago, when the Eye of the North Sea first appeared, under the implications of the world consciousness, one powerful being after another arrived here. After hundreds of thousands of years of proliferation, even Master Nalen was a descendant of some of the early generations of powerhouses. However, everyone will need to continue staying for another 500 years before you can go to the 5 domains, Lin Yuan said indifferently, surveying his surroundings. Currently, the demonic Tao forces that Lin Yuan had left on the 5 domains mainland were enough to suppress everything. But if the powerhouses from North Sea Island were to swarm into the 5 domains, it would be a different story. Dozens of 10th realm powerhouses and 6 11th realm powerhouses could completely disrupt the situation in the 5 domains. Therefore, Lin Yuan set a 500-year period for everyone. With this buffer time, losing the inhalation and exhalation of the Eye of the North Sea, the 5 domains' heavenly earth vital energy will recover, and it's possible for some 10th or even 11th realm powerhouses to emerge after 500 years. Yes, Master Nalen and the other powerhouses agreed without hesitation. They had managed to wait for thousands, tens of thousands of years. Naturally, a mere 500 years was not a problem. In that case, with a wave of his hand, Lin Yuan sent out specks of light that flew into the foreheads of each powerful being. These specks of light were formulated by Lin Yuan using the aura of the North Sea Island combined with his own power. If anyone left the boundaries of the North Sea Island region, it would trigger the light to self-destruct. Remember, you can go to the 5 domains only after 500 years, Lin Yuan reminded them once more before his figure disappeared from view. 5 domains. Chapter 185 Return, please subscribe, _3 Great Xia Empire. For 120 years, Nuan Shu and the various demon lords, strictly following Lin Yuan's instructions, governed the 5 domains in an orderly manner. And thus, they established a vast empire, named the Great Xia Empire. The Xia here is taken from the word Xia in Xiahou Yuan's surname. Great Xia Empire. Imperial Palace. Nuan Shu rubbed her brow, her expression revealing weariness. The great Xia Empire had no emperor, only 12 ministers assisting the state, led by Nuan Shu, formerly under the command of demon venerable Xiahou Yuan. The concentration of heavenly earth vital energy is increasing again? Nuan Shu walked to the window, murmuring to herself. Over the years, she too had stepped into the 9th realm, and with her keen senses, she had naturally noticed that across the entire mainland of the 5 domains, the heavenly earth vital energy was slowly becoming more concentrated. In the future, the heavenly earth vital energy will continue to increase until 50 years from now, when it recovers to the environment from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Just then, a deep voice suddenly sounded, startling Nuan Shu. When Nuan Shu turned around and saw the owner of the voice, her eyes immediately began to redden. "My lord!" Nuan Shu immediately knelt down, speaking excitedly. "Rise." Lin Yuan shook his head. "These 10 tokens contain the power I have left behind." No sooner had Lin Yuan's words fallen than 10 wooden tokens floated in front of Nuan Shu. "In the future, should you face an insolvable predicament, you may shatter a token, and then the power within the token will grant you temporary strength of the 13th realm," Lin Yuan said indifferently. This was also the safeguard Lin Yuan had left for the great Xia Empire. Even if hundreds of thousands or millions of years passed, the power of the 13th realm would still be able to sweep away and crush everything. "Yes." With some hesitation, Nuan Shu couldn't help but ask, "My lord, are you leaving us?" The words Lin Yuan said had led Nuan Shu to an unsettling speculation. With Lin Yuan's strength, why would he need to leave tokens as a last resort if he were still in the world? Where in the world is there no separation? Lin Yuan shook his head, clearly consenting. "Then where are you going, my lord?" Nuan Shu gathered her courage to ask. "Where to?" Lin Yuan pondered for a moment. "From whence I came, there I shall return." Lin Yuan's figure vanished, leaving behind only Nuan Shu still kneeling on the ground, her face a portrait of confusion. Southern Domain. In the midst of a dense forest, the figure of Lin Yuan appeared. Lin Yuan glanced. He noticed at a distant mountain village, Xiaohua, Shenlang, and Yang Bixin, disguised as commoners, were playing with children there. "Ah, the children of destiny," Lin Yuan sighed. If it weren't for him, Xiaohua, Shenlang, and Yang Bixin would probably have become the most dazzling trio in the 5 domains mainland. After all, these 3 were favored by the world's consciousness, intended to be the principal force to resolve the Eye of the North Sea. But now, these 3 were clearly stricken hard by Lin Yuan, directly retreating to live in seclusion in a remote forest. Western Domain. In the midst of a desert, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged on the sand. "It's time to leave." Lin Yuan let his thoughts wander. This moment was only a short while away from the end of his time here. Martial Tao. Lin Yuan's perceptions spread infinitely, faintly feeling the force of life carried by the martial Tao cultivators spread across the 5 domains mainland. If one day, the martial Tao cultivation system disappears from this world, Lin Yuan suddenly murmured to himself, then a second Eye of the North Sea will appear. Lin Yuan's thoughts flickered slightly, and the Eye of the North Sea, fine as a strand of hair, appeared before him. Then he swallowed it in one gulp. Next, he began sinking into the desert, sinking continuously, without end. Meanwhile, on the other side of the desert, heavenly earth vital energy coalesced, forming a figure. This figure had eyes of pure gold, lofty and aloof, cold and unfeeling. It glanced at the spot where Lin Yuan had sunk in, then its form once again turned into heavenly earth vital energy and disappeared on the spot. Chapter 186. Chikuan Star Lord. I just went into seclusion, and you're already 5th rank? Please subscribe. Main World. Kanglin Star, Central Continent Manor. In a daze, Lin Yuan opened his eyes. Back already? As consciousness returned, Lin Yuan quickly woke up. Nearly 20 days have passed. Lin Yuan checked the time. 300 years had passed in the 5 regions world, but only half a month had gone by in the main world. The final arrangement. Lin Yuan stepped out of the nutrition pod, went to the balcony, leaned on the railing, and fell into deep thought. Before leaving the Five Domains mainland for the last time, Lin Yuan left a contingency with his own body. It was that if one day his body no longer sensed the unique vital energy fluctuations emitted by the martial Tao cultivators on the Five Domains mainland, then the body submerged beneath the endless desert of the Western Domain would self-destruct. In the Five Regions world, Lin Yuan's strength before departure was at the 18th realm. Converted to the main world's realms, that would be the 5th rank, 12th segment. Such level of powerhouses, with the vast energy contained within their bodies, if they self-destructed, then it's estimated that the entire Western Domain continent would fall into ruin and collapse. It might even affect the other domains' continents. Of course, to the high and mighty world consciousness, losing a few continents would have no impact, but before leaving, Lin Yuan transformed the eye of the North Sea into a black speck as thin as a strand of hair and swallowed it as well. Once his body exploded, the terrifying release of energy might very well tear that speck open again, forming a new eye of the North Sea. When that happened, whether the world consciousness could find a second Lin Yuan was highly doubtful. This was also the final warning Lin Yuan left for the world consciousness. Keep your promises, or we all go down together. As for whether the world consciousness could perceive Lin Yuan's warning, after leaving the eye of the North Sea, Lin Yuan vaguely felt a sense of being watched. That was the world consciousness. To the Five Regions world, Lin Yuan was a world-ending level threat, and was always under the focus of world consciousness wherever he went. Therefore, the last few words Lin Yuan said to himself, others couldn't hear, but the world consciousness definitely could. Even to make the world consciousness understand, Lin Yuan purposely took out that black speck from the eye of the North Sea and swallowed it again right in front of it. This dimensional travel, Lin Yuan began to examine himself, organizing the gains from this travel. First off, it was the realm of strength. From the 4th rank 12th segment to the current 5th rank 12th segment, he had crossed an entire great realm, giving Lin Yuan's strength a qualitative leap. Next was the comprehension of other evolution paths. In addition to the Xian Huang evolutionary path, Lin Yuan had comprehended more than 100 evolution paths in the 7-star cave world, including those 16 that surpassed the 6th rank. Lin Yuan had already grasped them all. He had even comprehended the 5th rank chapter of the Xian Huang evolutionary path and was now pondering this 6th rank chapter. This Xian Huang evolutionary path. Lin Yuan's expression turned contemplative. Even with his against heaven's understanding, after pondering for 300 years, he had only reached the 5th rank chapter. How could other evolvers comprehend it? Lin Yuan speculated. There were two possible ways to cultivate the Xian Huang evolutionary path. One was that the evolvers suited for the Xian Huang evolutionary path might comprehend it at an inconceivably fast rate. It should be noted that Lin Yuan wasn't actually suitable for the Xian Huang evolutionary path. His understanding of it was purely forced, a mere entry forced by his against heaven's understanding. The other possibility was that comprehending the Xian Huang evolutionary path required some auxiliary item. Lacking such an item, Lin Yuan's comprehension was so slow. Lin Yuan felt the latter was more likely. Or perhaps both possibilities existed. After the Qikuan Star Lord took him as a disciple, he only gave a brief explanation before going back into seclusion. He hadn't had the time to explain in detail the origins and cultivation methods of the Xian Huang evolutionary path to Lin Yuan. Of course, it was also possible that the Qikuan Star Lord never imagined Lin Yuan's progress would be so rapid. Never mind that. As long as I can comprehend it, that's good enough. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and decided not to think too much about it. After all, the Xian Huang evolutionary path had indeed helped him greatly. The martial path evolutionary path had been smoothly developed to the 5th rank 12th segment, and the Xian Huang evolutionary path, along with other evolution paths, had played a significant role. Even the forthcoming 6th rank, or even the 7th rank, these evolution paths had given Lin Yuan plenty of inspiration and direction. 6th rank, Lin Yuan muttered to himself. Since he had reached the 5th rank 12th segment, naturally the next consideration was the 6th rank. In the main world human civilization alliance, The transition from 5th rank to 6th rank was a watershed. Below the 6th rank, as long as there were sufficient conditions, evolvers could freely change their evolution paths. For example, Lulan He from the Thunder Rain Star region replicated his physique to change from one evolution path to another. Or like some cosmic rare treasures that once ingested would cleanse many evolution marks on the body, returning it to its initial state and allowing a choice to cultivate a new evolution path. But reaching the 6th rank, the evolution path seeps into the soul, and changing it becomes no easy task. Even if a great price is paid to switch the evolution path, one can only switch to a similar source evolution path. For instance, a water system 6th rank evolver who wants to change paths can, at most, switch to another water system evolution path. As for cultivating a fire system evolution path, impossible. So, before cultivating to the 6th rank, one must be prudent. Because once at the 6th rank, some aspects become irreversible. First, restore my strength. Lin Yuan had already grasped a rough direction for the 6th rank, but the specifics of how to develop the martial path evolutionary path's 6th rank chapter still required careful consideration. Chapter 187 Qikuan Star Lord. I just closed the gate for a bit, and you're already 5th rank? Subscribe please. _2 bang. Lin Yuan returned to his room. He took out the bottle of Scarlet Spirit Liquid. This was a privilege exclusively for the peak masters of the Red Kun lineage. As a disciple of the Qikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan didn't need to waste time on basic energy accumulation. As long as he reached the realm required, he could directly transform his physical soul with the Scarlet Spirit Liquid. Before the 4th traverse, Lin Yuan had applied for a bottle of Scarlet Spirit Liquid as preparation for this moment. Gulp, gulp. Lin Yuan picked up the bottle of Scarlet Spirit Liquid. He tilted his head back and started drinking. While breaking through from 4th rank level 11 to 4th rank level 12, Lin Yuan dared only to consume a drop of Scarlet Spirit Liquid. Any more would be a tremendous waste, despite the mild energy of the Scarlet Spirit Liquid not causing his physical body to burst. But now, from 4th rank to 5th rank, an entire great realm, a single drop of Scarlet Spirit Liquid was naturally far from enough for Lin Yuan. With a breath, as a great amount of Scarlet Spirit Liquid entered, it transformed into vast volumes of mild power, which Lin Yuan quickly absorbed. Physical body. So, both were transforming at an extraordinarily fast pace. 1 or 2 days later, outside the main building of the manor, Ho Ming was meticulously scanning his surroundings. As the captain of the guard for the 13th peak master of the Red Kun lineage, Ho Ming's task was to ensure the 13th peak master's safety. For that, he would even sacrifice his own life. This was an instinct rooted deep within Ho Ming's soul. He was a 6th rank evolver secretly trained by the Red Kun lineage. Naturally, there would be no issues with his loyalty. What is this? As Ho Ming was patrolling, suddenly, a faint fluctuation reached him. Ho Ming swiftly turned around, looking towards the main building behind him. If not for this faint fluctuation which carried Lin Yuan's aura, Ho Ming might have instinctively attacked at this moment. For this weak fluctuation had already reached the 5th rank. It's the peak master. Ho Ming's pupils slightly constricted. He found it hard to believe. He remembered that not long ago, Lin Yuan's strength was still at the 4th rank level 11, and now he had already stepped into the 5th rank. How is this possible? Worthy of being the disciple of a Star Lord, Ho Ming sighed, feeling that the Qikuan Star Lord had indeed spotted a true gem. I must ensure the peak master's safety. After his moment of reflection, Ho Ming's spirit rose once again. After becoming Lin Yuan's captain of the guards, Ho Ming's loyalty was solely to Lin Yuan. Even the Qikuan Star Lord could no longer command him. I finally recovered. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, a smile appearing on his face. This recovery of strength was unprecedentedly smooth compared to the previous 3 times. It was worth exposing some of my talents to become the 13th peak master of the Red Kun lineage, Lin Yuan thought to himself. If he didn't have the identity of the 13th peak master, he would probably still be worrying about which cosmic rare treasures to choose to buy. Moreover, many of the evolution paths also needed to be purchased. There's still 1/10 left. Lin Yuan glanced at the scarlet spirit liquid in front of him. He then put it away, to save it for next time. 5th rank level 12. I can now organize the 5th stage section of the martial path evolutionary path. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, contemplating internally. Now that Lin Yuan had almost completed the 5th rank stage, the next step was figuring out how to step into the 6th rank. 5th stage section, Lin Yuan's thoughts world. The second layer chapter of the martial path evolutionary path involved the fusion of two extreme powers of yin and yang, known as the Taiji Dao. The third layer chapter was an understanding of numerous rules. The 4th rank chapter involved further understanding of these rules, perfecting the Taiji Dao. As for the 5th stage section, it was the primordial spirit, the Taiyin primordial spirit, Taiyang divine spirit, and their union, the Taiji primordial spirit. Of course, to reduce the difficulty of the martial Dao cultivation pathway, Lin Yuan divided the primordial spirit of the 5th stage section into 3 levels. The Taiyin primordial spirit, Taiyang divine spirit, and the final Taiji primordial spirit. The evolvers after need not cultivate into a Taiji primordial spirit. They only need to cultivate either a Taiyang divine spirit or a Taiyin primordial spirit. This is quite similar to the yin-yang realm of the 2nd layer chapter. In the Dragon Tiger world, all the heavenly masters cultivate either the Taiyin pole extreme or the Taiyang pole extreme. As for the Taiji, which unifies yin and yang, only Lin Yuan has managed to cultivate it. Thus, in the martial path evolutionary path's 3rd rank chapter, Lin Yuan also divided it into 3 layers. Taiyin chapter, Taiyang chapter, and the Taiji chapter. These 3 tiers are laid out side by side, allowing the cultivator to choose based on their own talent. In the martial Tao cultivation system, after the 5th rank, the primordial spirit can leave the physical body to act on its own, much like the special talent Avatar. Suddenly, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The talent Avatar is a method possessed by a few unique races deep in the cosmic starry skies. It can separate out a body, akin to an external incarnation. After Lin Yuan reached the 5th rank, his condensed primordial spirit was similar to an avatar. Although it lacked flesh and blood, the power it demonstrated with just the force of the primordial spirit wasn't much weaker than his physical body. In some aspects, it was even stronger. For example, speed. Without the constraints of a physical body, the speed of the primordial spirit was inconceivably swift. And size. The primordial spirit is a concentration of soul force. Theoretically, it could be infinitely large. With Lin Yuan's current strength of his primordial spirit, if he exerted his full power, he could transform into a giant of 1,000,000 feet. I have more than one primordial spirit. Both yin spirit and yang spirit can act independently, akin to having 2 avatars. Lin Yuan secretly thought to himself. If an avatar with the talent Avatar perishes, regenerating it would require a significant sacrifice. Even some talents, Avatar would be lost forever once dead. But Lin Yuan's primordial spirits, as long as the physical body, yin spirit, and yang spirit don't all perish at the same time, they could quickly evolve into the other 2. The Tao of Taiji, where yin and yang blend, the extreme of yin turns to yang and the extreme of yang turns to yin. Yin and yang can naturally convert into each other. Even if the yang spirit is destroyed, as long as the yin spirit still exists, it could quickly split off a yang spirit. A few days later, Lin Yuan had almost finished organizing the 5th stage section. Goddess of Wisdom. Lin Yuan connected to the Goddess of Wisdom, planning to upload the 5th stage section. Having realized the importance of spreading the teachings, Lin Yuan naturally would not keep them to himself. Besides, given the difficulty of practicing the 5th stage section, other evolvers, no matter how talented, could at most cultivate either a yin spirit or a yang spirit. As for a Taiji primordial spirit like Lin Yuan's, even if it were cultivated, it would be only after thousands or tens of thousands of years. Moreover, through traveling across the 5 regions world, Lin Yuan faintly realized, as long as he, a founder, was still alive, other cultivators on the martial path evolutionary path were naturally suppressed by him. just like Xiahou Yuan's suppression over the demonic Tao in the world. Of course, initially, Lin Yuan's suppression of other martial arts evolutionaries was not apparent. But as his power increased, this suppression would gradually intensify. Virtual world. Within a vast palace, the elder clad in a crimson robe suddenly opened his eyes. At this moment, his eyes burned like constant stars, yet no longer radiated light and heat. Obviously he had barely managed control. Finally, I've mastered this secret technique. The Qikuan Star Lord closed his eyes, and upon reopening them, the star pupils had vanished. To cultivate this secret technique, the Qikuan Star Lord had paid a great price, having acquired dozens of star cores, and at last refined them within his eyes. My dear disciple must be getting impatient. Just after mastering the secret technique, Qikuan Star Lord thought of his newly accepted 13th disciple. He couldn't help it. During the secret technique cultivation period, most of his focus was concentrated in his eyes, utterly unable to suppress the power of the star cores, so after hastily accepting Lin Yuan, he resumed his closed-door cultivation. Dear disciple, come and see me. Qikuan Star Lord connected his consciousness to the virtual world, confirmed that Lin Yuan was not in seclusion but was online, and promptly sent an invitation. Kanglin Star, Central Continent Manor. Lin Yuan had just finished uploading the Martial Path Evolutionary Paths, 5th stage section. Then he received a request from the Qikuan Star Lord. Dear disciple, come and see me. The voice message from Qikuan Star Lord echoed in his ears. The teacher has emerged from seclusion. Lin Yuan immediately stood up, his consciousness also connected to the virtual world, arriving at a vast palace. Everything here was fiery red. Greeting, teacher. Lin Yuan bowed lightly towards the Qikuan Star Lord seated on the high throne. Yes, get up. The Qikuan Star Lord scrutinized Lin Yuan closely. Suddenly, his expression slightly changed. Although Lin Yuan had not synced his power in the virtual world, which is to say, Lin Yuan's physical soul was still at the peak of the 4th rank, but with the eyesight of the Qikuan Star Lord, after a few more glances, he subtly sensed that Lin Yuan's mental power had surpassed the 4th rank. Dear disciple, have you reached the 5th rank? After a moment of silence, the Qikuan Star Lord could not help but ask. Chapter 188 The Evolution Scholar, please subscribe. A few days ago, I chanced upon the entry into the 5th stage. Lin Yuan did not deny it. The human civilization is vast and boundless, filled with countless geniuses. A span of 1 or 2 years to cross a great realm might be considered rare for a certain star domain or for a few star domains. However, if looked at from the entire territory of human civilization, it's not so dazzling after all. Not to mention others, in years past, the Qikuan Star Lord seized the body of a starry sky wanderer Kuan juvenile and ascended in a single step, a legend that spread through more than half of the human civilization territory. So, as long as Lin Yuan remained a member of the human race, and did not reveal the door to the myriad realms deep in his mind, even if he displayed an extraordinary talent, no problems would arise. Instead, he would be treasured and protected even more by the Qikuan Star Lord and the Goddess of Wisdom. Over 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, the human civilization alliance swept through the 8 directions of the universe, causing different species to retreat step by step. Aside from those few top powerhouses, what was more important was the protection mechanism for geniuses. Without this mechanism continuously supplying fresh blood, the dominant presence of human civilization that pressured many different species would not be possible. Truly reached the 5th stage. The Qikuan Star Lord fell silent, thinking it was an illusion just moments ago. Only when he heard Lin Yuan confirm it did he immediately realize that his newly accepted disciple had a talent even greater than he had anticipated. Comprehending the Xian Huang evolutionary path merely indicates one's suitability for training in this evolution path, but how high one can eventually go is still an unknown matter. However, given Lin Yuan's current performance, his potential in the future goes without saying. Let me take a moment. The Qikuan Star Lord rubbed his temples. He had already arranged a series of training plans for Lin Yuan during his retreat. The Qikuan Star Lord was skilled in guiding disciples and casually went through the battle videos from Lin Yuan's arena matches again after his previous exit from seclusion. From that, he came up with a training plan tailored for Lin Yuan. This training plan was custom-built for Lin Yuan, accurate to every step of his subsequent cultivation. But now, Lin Yuan had broken through to the 5th stage. The training plan thought out by the Qikuan Star Lord naturally had to be scrapped. It wasn't because the Qikuan Star Lord's training plan was limited to the 4th rank chapter. In fact, his training plan covered the 6th rank chapter, even including advice on how to break through to the 6th rank. However, this training plan was based on Lin Yuan as previously known to the Qikuan Star Lord. Now that Lin Yuan had stepped into the 5th stage, his talent surpassed the expectations of the Qikuan Star Lord, and to use the original training plan would be obviously inappropriate. Simply put, the training plan was no longer worthy of Lin Yuan's current level. I need to think. The Qikuan Star Lord was very cautious. He was well aware that the more genius one was, the less they needed to be directed and interfered with. From the Qikuan Star Lord's perspective, he could directly guide and even personally plan the path ahead for an ordinary evolver. But for a top-tier genius evolver, the Qikuan Star Lord had to be careful, because he did not know if the path he planned for this top-tier genius evolver was indeed the right one. Geniuses often carve their own paths, and interference from others would only suppress their genius. I never thought Qikuan, would be troubled by such matters one day. The Qikuan Star Lord felt somewhat worried inside. The 12 disciples he had taken before did not display talent that reached the level of Lin Yuan's, so the Qikuan Star Lord guided them quite casually. You can go back first. I need more time to think. After observing Lin Yuan for a while and having a brief conversation, the Qikuan Star Lord fell back into deep thought. Yes. Lin Yuan bowed and then disappeared from the spot. With Lin Yuan's departure, the vast Crimson Palace was once again left with only the Qikuan Star Lord. How to cultivate him? The Qikuan Star Lord frowned in deep thought. Xiaohong. Suddenly, the Qikuan Star Lord spoke up. Master, Xiaohong is here. A mechanical voice sounded. It was the Qikuan Star Lord's intelligence assistant, Xiaohong. That rule crystal I collected 80,000 years ago, it's still around, isn't it? The Qikuan Star Lord asked. It is, Master. Xiaohong immediately responded. Send that rule crystal to my disciple, the Qikuan Star Lord said after a moment's thought. Master, that is a rule crystal. Xiaohong paused slightly, having evolved into a sentient AI with its own thoughts and emotions after following the Qikuan Star Lord for many years. Yes. Seeing that the Qikuan Star Lord was silent, Xiaohong could only comply. Kanglin Star, Central Continent Manor. Lin Yuan disconnected from the virtual world. Wonder what the teacher wanted me for. Lin Yuan was puzzled, suspecting his advancement into the 5th stage might have disrupted some of the Qikuan Star Lord's plans. But Lin Yuan was at a loss. In front of a powerhouse like the Qikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan couldn't hide his true strength. This time when he met the Qikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan hadn't even synced with the virtual world, but his true strength was still detected by the Qikuan Star Lord. The power of the soul, Lin Yuan secretly thought. The power of the soul is the most fundamental strength of an evolver, and it was the detection of a soul power surpassing the 4th rank that led the Qikuan Star Lord to conclude Lin Yuan had entered the 5th stage. While Lin Yuan was deep in thought, the solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom rang out. Respected 5th-level citizen Lin Yuan, after the final judgment, your submission for the 5th stage section has been valued at 200,000 merit points. 200,000 merit points. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. It's important to note, this isn't the value of the martial path evolutionary path, but merely the value of the 5th stage section itself. The likelihood of the martial path evolutionary path advancing to the 6th rank is 95%. Chapter 189 Evolution Scholar, Subscription Request, _2. The possibility of advancing to the 7th rank is 20%, and the possibility of moving on to the 8th rank evolution path is 5%. Lin Yuan immediately looked at the updated information on the martial path evolutionary path. With the upload of the 5th stage section, The goddess of wisdom would definitely reassess the information of the martial path evolutionary path and draw an updated conclusion. The possibility of advancing to the 6th rank didn't reach 100%? Lin Yuan felt somewhat regretful. Little did he know, among the countless evolution paths recorded by the Human Civilization Alliance, there wasn't a single one below the 6th rank that guarantees advancement to the 6th rank. Most of the 5th rank evolution paths had only a 30% to 40% chance of ascending to the 6th rank, and it was considered rare to exceed 50%. The martial path evolutionary path's chance of ascending to the 6th rank had reached 95%, ranking it among the very top of all 5th rank evolution paths. The possibility of advancing to the 7th rank increased by 10%, and there was an added 5% possibility of advancing to the 8th rank. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. It was evident that Lin Yuan's upload of the 5th stage section had brought about a qualitative change to the martial path evolutionary path. This was expected, as after all, the method of refining the primordial spirit in the 5th stage section was an extraordinarily rare technique. Though Lin Yuan estimated that the majority of future evolvers who refined their primordial spirits would only have one, this was a method akin to the talent of Avatar. The latest ranking of the Qikuan evolution rankings. 53rd place? Lin Yuan glanced at the updated ranking of the martial path evolutionary path. He was still first on the Kanglin evolution ranking. On the Qikuan evolution rankings, he had moved up from near the bottom of the top 100 to 53rd place. Actually, even some of the evolution paths in the top 50 of the Qikuan evolution rankings had a lower chance of advancing to the 8th rank than the martial path evolutionary path. But alas, most of these evolution paths were 7th rank evolution paths, surpassing the martial path evolutionary path by 2 levels. The rankings on the evolution rankings were determined by many factors, and potential was only one aspect. 5th level citizen advancing to a 6th level citizen requires 500,000 merit points? Why don't you just rob someone? Lin Yuan sighed. Even though he had created the martial path evolutionary path that broke into the top 53 of the Qikuan evolution rankings, the total accumulated merit points were still far from the 500,000 needed to rise to a 6th level citizen. One could imagine the difficulty of advancing to a 6th level citizen. Even Lin Yuan faced this challenge, let alone other evolvers who might need thousands to tens of thousands of years to amass such a vast amount of merit points. However, higher-level citizens have many privileges within human civilization. To enjoy these privileges, hefty sacrifices must be made, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Although he couldn't gather 500,000 merit points this time, maybe next time, or at most the time after that, he definitely would. Qikuan main virtual world. In the Central Plaza area, numerous evolvers chatted in small groups. Naturally, most of them discussed topics related to the martial path evolutionary path. There was no helping it. The top 100 evolution paths on the Qikuan evolution rankings might not change for thousands to tens of thousands of years, and everyone had talked about each path to the point of exhaustion. Basically, everything that could be discussed had been discussed. However, the martial path evolutionary path had only recently entered the rankings, and even though it only occupied a spot in the lower part of the top 100, it still generated immense interest, especially due to its astonishingly quick advancement speed, which was a hot topic among many evolvers. I wonder which evolver scholar's experimental product was deployed to the Qikuan star domain. Evolver scholars, they are on par with, no, even more important than high-rank evolvers. They are treasures of the human race, many evolvers and high-level citizens whispered among themselves. In human civilization, the status of evolver scholars was so high it was unimaginable. Many of them were not skilled in combat, but their contributions to human civilization were no less than those high-rank evolvers who constantly battled different species on the frontiers. To become an evolver scholar, one prerequisite was to pioneer an entirely new 8th rank evolution path, or discoveries equivalent to an 8th rank evolution path or technological inventions. This was a pathway that could continuously produce 8th rank evolvers, potentially benefiting the human race for hundreds of thousands to millions of years. What do you think? When will the martial path evolutionary path continue to climb in the rankings? A fourth rank evolver asked curiously, if the martial path evolutionary path was developed by an evolver scholar, then its final ranking would definitely not settle within the top 100 of the Qigong evolution rankings. Continue to climb the rankings. It probably won't happen anytime soon. A third-level citizen couldn't help commenting. Even an evolver scholar couldn't just randomly create an evolution path with a potential of the 7th or even 8th rank. The establishment of an evolution path required careful consideration, and in the end, it needed the approval of the 3 goddesses. I think so too. The Yuan scholar who founded the martial path evolutionary path is indeed learned and knowledgeable, but our Qigong star domain's evolution rankings aren't just for anyone. Hasn't that evolution path withstood the test of time? Another evolver spoke up, rising to his feet and pointing towards the towering Qigong evolution rankings, finally resting his finger on the martial path evolutionary path at the very end. I bet, for at least the next 3 years, the rankings won't change. Before the evolver could finish, it had already reached the daily update time for the Qigong evolution rankings. Suddenly, the 100 evolutionary paths on the rankings began to blur. After a few breaths, the names of all the evolution paths came into focus again. The standing evolver suddenly realized that the evolution path he was pointing to was no longer the martial path evolutionary path. Goodness! He immediately sensed that something was amiss. His gaze shifted upwards. Finally, at the 53rd spot, he found the martial path evolutionary path. Meanwhile, at the Central Plaza area, many evolvers and high-level citizens were astounded once again. The martial path evolutionary path had leaped dozens of places, soaring from the top 100 to the 53rd, utterly shattering their conventional views. This wasn't just any planetary evolution ranking, but the evolution ranking of the Qigong star domain, which recorded all the evolutionary paths of over 1 million life planets across the whole star domain. Every evolution path listed in the Qigong evolution rankings had gone through numerous trials. Let alone leaping dozens of places at once, even moving up 1 or 2 places was extremely difficult, requiring a major breakthrough somewhere to succeed. 5th stage section? The martial path evolutionary path has updated the 5th stage section. It must be this section that caused the martial path evolutionary path's rank to surge. Buy it quickly for research. I want to see what it was that allowed the martial path to bypass 40 to 56th rank evolution paths. In the Central Plaza area, several evolvers immediately began to purchase the 5th stage section of the martial path evolutionary path. In the human cosmic territory, near the eastern side, on a gigantic planet within a vast star domain. This planet was immensely huge, surpassing higher life planets, and was home to numerous research institutes. At the highest institute, an elderly man in a white research robe was staring at the screen before him. Infinite data emerged on the screen, with many formulas and conclusions flashing by. It's about finished. The elderly man closed his eyes, intending to rest for a while. His consciousness connected to the virtual world, entering the Founders World's forum. My post from back then, someone replied again? The elderly man looked somewhat surprised, as he had left a question on the Founders Forum 23,000 years ago. Is it better to perceive one rule? Or is it better to perceive multiple rules? Over the years, people had occasionally added their insights under this question. But none of the answers had satisfied the elderly man. Let's see. He immediately went into the thread. Since he was idle, looking back at the question he once faced during rest was also a gain. It's naturally to perceive one rule, as the universe has so many rules. To perceive every one of them, even those residing high in the evolution tower wouldn't manage it, right? Perceiving just one rule will ultimately have its limitations. If possible, one should naturally perceive multiple rules. The elderly man skimmed through the recent replies, shaking his head constantly. Obviously none of the replies had satisfied him. Until he came across the very last reply. This was the most recent reply, just over a month old. Perceive a certain rule, then use this principle to command all others. The elderly man was slightly stunned, his face showing surprise. Chapter 190. I don't think your view on the martial path evolutionary path is comprehensive. Please subscribe. To command 1,000 paths with a single one? The old man's eyes quickly flickered with vast amounts of data. Clearly, he was computing the feasibility of such a method. In fact, whether it's better to comprehend one rule or multiple rules, there has been a near-standard answer for 20,000 years. It depends on oneself. If you are naturally close to multiple rules, then it is naturally better to comprehend multiple rules. If you have a higher affinity for a certain rule, then it is naturally better to focus on comprehending that rule first. But now, this latest response gave the old man a different direction. No, that's not right. To command 1,000 paths with a single one, first and foremost, this single path must be overwhelmingly suppressive towards the 1,000 paths. If it's just a path on the same level, why would it command 1,000? The old man deduced for a long time and hit a dead end. But this method is indeed possible. Reinvigorated, the old man ignored the data that kept appearing on the nearby screen. No, I have to have a good chat with this fellow. The old man immediately clicked on the avatar of the person who gave this response, trying to obtain their contact information directly. Not enough permission? The old man blinked his eyes. I'm at least a level 8 citizen. How can I not have enough permission? The old man muttered. Let's see if I can. Many streams of data once again flickered through the old man's eyes. However, the next moment, a solemn and cool voice came through. Great Scholar Te, your actions violate Article 13 of the Human Alliance's Constitution. If you continue, you will receive the corresponding punishment. Heh, Goddess of Wisdom. I was just trying to see if there were any loopholes in the information blockade set by you 3 goddesses, with absolutely no intention of violating the Constitution. The old man quickly explained with a chuckle. Great Scholar Te, whether there are loopholes or not will have corresponding handling measures, it's not your concern. The Goddess of Wisdom's tone remained unfluctuating. All right then. The old man sat back down. By the way, Goddess of Wisdom, why is there such extensive information lockdown on the citizen who offered that response, to the extent that even I cannot inquire about their information? The old man paused for a while, immediately asking probingly. It should be known that the old man was a level 8 citizen, and also a rare evolution scholar, whose status could rank in the top 3 among dozens of surrounding star domains. Great Scholar Te, you don't have enough permission to know about this matter, the Goddess of Wisdom answered indifferently. Oh, Great Scholar Te fell into contemplation. Could it be that the other party is also a great scholar, and one of those researching top-secret achievements? Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense for their information to be completely inaccessible. Forget it. I'll play it straight. Great Scholar Te thought for a long time, and realizing there was no shortcut, he left his own question under the to command 1,000 paths with a single one response. As long as the person who gave this response logs in and enters the Founder's world, they will see it. Kanglin Star. Central Continent Manor. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Many pieces of information about the martial path evolutionary path appeared on the screen before him. First tier chapter, 36,783 people. Second layer chapter, 494 people. Third rank chapter, 0. Lin Yuan was looking at the number of evolvers at each stage of the martial path evolutionary path. In the Cosmic Human Alliance, evolvers need to purchase the evolution path under their real names, and after becoming an evolver, they must register with the Evolvers Association. If they make any breakthroughs, they also need to go to the Evolvers Association to update their rank information. As a result, the human civilization's official data will naturally reveal the number of evolvers at each rank. Of course, there will be discrepancies, like if an evolver breaks through to the second layer but forgets to update their rank information because of other matters. However, such cases are relatively rare and fall within the margin of normal error. To date, not a single person has cultivated to the third rank chapter? Lin Yuan thought to himself. The third rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path already involves the shallow understanding of rules. When Lin Yuan first created this chapter, he was in the divine arms world, had many divine weapons to contemplate, and possessed against heaven's understanding. For other evolvers in the main world, it was evident that they did not enjoy the benefits that Lin Yuan had. Therefore, even with a complete guide such as the martial path evolutionary path that Lin Yuan had developed, stepping into the third rank chapter was not going to be easy. I could make a tutorial video when I have the time, Lin Yuan secretly thought to himself. Since spreading his own evolutionary path would be beneficial for his ultimate leap in the future, Lin Yuan naturally wanted to lower the difficulty for other evolvers to cultivate the martial Dao cultivation evolution path. This action would serve two purposes. Not only would it increase the number of evolvers on the martial path evolutionary path, but it would also create more revenue for him. With dedicated tutorial videos, other evolvers who were on the fence could have an epiphany and step into the realm of the martial Dao. Another 100+ people have purchased the 5th rank chapter. Lin Yuan glanced at the sales numbers of the martial path evolutionary path and saw the number behind the 5th rank chapter was 126. This meant that 126 people had purchased the 5th rank chapter. When uploading the 5th rank chapter, Lin Yuan set the price at 500 million. First tier chapter, 10,000. Second layer chapter, 500,000. Third rank chapter, 5 million. Fourth rank chapter, 50 million. Fifth rank chapter, 500 million. With more than 100 copies of the 5th rank chapter sold, that equated to selling over 50 billion. Even after a split of proceeds and the deduction of related taxes, Lin Yuan would still take home over 10 billion. And this was just a few days after the upload. As time passes, the number of buyers would only increase. Chapter 191, I don't think your view on the martial path evolutionary path is comprehensive. Please subscribe. _2 Even many evolvers, despite not training, would buy it to study. After all, the martial path evolutionary path is currently ranked 53rd on the Qikuan evolution rankings. In terms of fame, the martial path evolutionary path is bigger, as making a leap of several tens of ranks in a short period of time can further spark the curiosity of other evolvers. Evening. Lin Yuan finished training. He went outside the main building, preparing to dine with his parents and sister. Since Lin Yuan spent most of his time training, even though the family lived in the same estate, they didn't see each other often. Thus, Lin Yuan made it a point to come out for a meal every so often. Brother, I am now a first-rank evolver, Lin Yi boasted while eating. Actually, Lin Yi becoming a first-rank evolver so quickly was quite normal. When Lin Yuan entered the 4th rank, he had performed marrow cleansing for Lin. With Lin Yuan's strength, under marrow cleansing, a strong foundation was laid for Lin. Therefore, no matter which evolution path she took, it was easy, given that the foundation was there. Of course, this ease was only apparent in the 1st rank, at most the 2nd layer. From the 10th or 11th segments of the 2nd layer, she could only rely on herself. Xiaoyuan, you are not young anymore. Even if your main focus is on the path of evolution, you should also consider having a child, Mrs. Lu Qiong couldn't help but say. Nowadays, because of Lin Yuan, the Lin family had leapt from being an obscure family in Dongning City to becoming one of the top families on Kanglan Star. Mrs. Lu Qiong occasionally also connected to the virtual world, unaware of how many families and powerful forces on Kanglan Star wanted to introduce their precious daughters to Lin Yuan. There's no rush on this matter, we can talk about it later. Lin Yuan said casually. The powerful evolvers of the main world had different attitudes towards progeny. Many evolvers focused on the path of evolution felt progeny was superfluous. Lin Yuan held a similar view. No matter where or when, personal strength is always the fundamental base. As for offspring, they are just a numerical accumulation. As long as Lin Yuan was there, even if alone, it would still be the most top-tier family nobility. If one day Lin Yuan was gone, even if they had many descendants, it would be of no use. It would be just like monkeys scattering upon the fall of a tree. As the family was chatting, "Master, someone has come to visit." The voice of the digital assistant sounded in his ear. "Who?" Lin Yuan asked. "Kanglan Star Governor Song Wuyang." Inside the main building's reception room, Lin Yuan and Governor Song Wuyang sat facing each other. Truly a once-in-millennia evolutionary genius of our Kanglan Star, Governor Song Weiyang was very pleased with Lin Yuan. Recently in the arena competition, Lin Yuan had dominated the whole event with his 4th rank strength. To think, a 4th rank evolver under 100 years old being born on Kanglin Star was also a nice boost to his governance performance. It was merely by luck. Lin Yuan shook his head. Luck? In tens of thousands of years on Kanglin Star, could Mr. Lin be the only one lucky? Governor Song jokingly said. However, regarding the trial of the Chikuan Star Lord, Mr. Lin need not worry, Governor Song comforted. Lin Yuan not passing the 7-star cave trial was no secret. Though Lin Yuan was a 4th rank evolver, at that time, tens of thousands of 4th rank evolvers participated in the 7-star cave trial, and very few passed. The 7-star cave trial initiated by the Chikuan Star Lord targeted the comprehensive aspects of the challengers, where strength was only one aspect and not even the most significant. What a pity! Lin Yuan slightly shook his head, displaying a hint of regret. In the arena, Lin Yuan simply showed his 4th rank strength, but the Chikuan Star Lord was able, through his own judgment and the source video, sent by the Goddess of Wisdom, to confirm that Lin Yuan had begun to comprehend the rules, ultimately becoming a golden pattern challenger. As for the others? Even among beings on the same level as the Chikuan Star Lord, without the source video, one still couldn't confirm the true extent of Lin Yuan's abilities. He was just perceived as an ordinary 4th rank. Such a 4th rank, among the tens of thousands of evolvers entering the 7-star cave trial, was quite common. As a result, it seemed quite normal to outsiders that Lin Yuan had failed the 7-star cave world trial. It was very inconspicuous. Governor Song came this time for. The two exchanged pleasantries for a moment before Lin Yuan took the initiative to ask. There is something I need Mr. Lin's help with? Song Weiyang paused for a moment, then tentatively asked. Mr. Lin is the youngest 4th rank evolver on Kanglin Star. Would you consider our invitation to become an honorary professor at Kanglin Evolution Academy? Don't worry, it's just honorary. Apart from showing up for the first few classes, afterwards you can come and go as you please. Even if Mr. Lin leaves Kanglin Star in the future, as long as you don't renounce the honorary professor title, you can always enjoy the many benefits that come with it. After finishing, Song Weiyang carefully observed Lin Yuan's reaction. Kanglin Evolution Academy, being the highest institute on Kanglin Star, gathered the most promising of the younger generation. Since they were the younger generation, they were naturally not very old, and Lin Yuan, as a 4th rank evolver under 100 years old, had great influence among the youth. If Lin Yuan could become an honorary professor of Kanglin Evolution Academy, it would undoubtedly be a significant inspiration for those students. After all, having their idol in the school, who among those students wouldn't be fully motivated to study and practice? No problem. Lin Yuan contemplated for a while, then agreed. Primarily because this honorary professor role was really very liberal, having no binding force on him, and even when teaching students, it was in the virtual world, no need to leave his estate. Besides, he could also collect a salary of 100,000 civilization coins per month. Of course, with Lin Yuan's current fortune, he wasn't concerned about the money. However, occasionally providing guidance to other evolvers was also a form of self-reflection for Lin Yuan, and with his against heaven's understanding, there might be unexpected gains. Since that's the case, then it's settled. Song Weiyang breathed a sigh of relief. He had been genuinely worried that Lin Yuan might refuse before his arrival. Since he had agreed to become an honorary professor at Kanglin Evolution Academy, Lin Yuan also felt it improper to not even show his face. In the virtual world, the president of Kanglin Higher Evolution Academy, alongside various professors and experts, personally welcomed Lin Yuan. Professor Lin is young and promising, making us old fellows truly ashamed, Professor Chu said with a laugh. He was also the most senior among the professors, not only a professor but also the vice president. I never thought I'd live to see such a talented evolver, Mr. Liu couldn't help saying as he sized Lin Yuan up. After chatting for a while, naturally, the topic shifted to evolution paths. After all, everyone was either an expert or a professor, regularly engaging with knowledge in the field of evolution, which made it easy to find topics for discussion. And since the topic had shifted to evolution paths, It was impossible not to mention the recently popular martial path evolutionary path. Even on the main world of the Qikuan star domain, the martial path evolutionary path had caused quite a stir, and as Kanglin star was the initial world for this path, its popularity was naturally higher. All the experts and professors present had basically purchased the first 3 ranks of the martial path evolutionary path for study. Seeing that Lin Yuan sat there silently while the professors and experts discussed enthusiastically, Professor Chu, not wanting Lin Yuan to feel isolated, took the initiative to ask, "Professor Lin, what are your views on the martial path evolutionary path?" As soon as the question was asked, everyone quieted down. They were all looking forward to hearing Lin Yuan's opinion. They also wanted to hear the perspective of the most talented evolver in the history of Kanglin star. My view on the martial path evolutionary path? A hint of amusement crossed Lin Yuan's face. If it had been any other question, he might not have had an answer. But regarding the martial path evolutionary path, naturally, there were no issues. The martial path evolutionary path is based on vital energy. Lin Yuan roughly shared his views, but only limited to the first and second layer. The higher ranks were difficult to articulate merely by speech. The surrounding experts and professors listened intently, nodding occasionally. Once Lin Yuan finished, everyone started discussing in low voices. Moments later, Professor Lu and a few other professors discussed for a bit and then spoke up. "Professor Lin, your understanding is good, but somewhat one-sided and fails to reflect the true profundity of the martial path evolutionary path." My understanding of the martial path evolutionary path is one-sided? Lin Yuan fell into deep thought. Chapter 192 Rule Crystal. Subscribe please. Looking at Mr. Lu, whose eyes were shining brightly, Lin Yuan felt a flicker of oddness in his eyes. When it came to understanding the martial path evolutionary path, not to mention Mr. Lu, even those top-tier evolvers from the human civilization wouldn't surpass Lin Yuan. After all, the martial path evolutionary path was created and pioneered by Lin Yuan himself. How could others compare? It was as if Lin Yuan had set the questions, and he alone decided what the answers were. Could outsiders dare challenge the question setter? Of course, the identity of the founder of an evolutionary path was immensely significant, especially for the currently popular martial path evolutionary path. Naturally, Lin Yuan would not admit his identity here. You should know, in the Qikuan star domain, most evolvers and high-ranking citizens unanimously believed that the martial path evolutionary path was developed as an experimental product by some top-ranked evolver scholar. What is an evolver scholar? They are the absolute elite of human civilization, unchallenged both in terms of personal strength and contributions to human civilization. Those from different species outside human civilization were all desperate to assassinate an evolver scholar. An evolver scholar might have never been to the frontier battlefield, but their influence on it was profound through the evolutionary paths, secret techniques, and even technological achievements they developed. This could even decide the outcome of local wars. Unfortunately, the importance of evolver scholars was known to the different species, and naturally to the human race. Every evolver scholar was tightly protected. Moreover, evolver scholars were not weak. They too had their own means of protection. The different species couldn't even pin down where an evolver scholar was, let alone assassinate one. If Lin Yuan were to expose himself as the founder of the martial path evolutionary path, the different species would certainly launch an assassination without hesitation. Even if it cost several sixth-rank powerhouses who had infiltrated human territories, they would still fiercely target Lin Yuan. Why was the martial path evolutionary path considered an experimental product by an evolver scholar? Why hadn't other evolutionary paths been subject to such speculation? It was because of the high potential of the martial path evolutionary path, which was astonishingly high. A regular founder of an evolutionary path simply couldn't create such a high-level path. Only evolver scholars who transcended through time, possessing vast knowledge and also stood in high positions, could create such potent evolutionary paths. If the different species knew the martial path evolutionary path was created by an evolver who wasn't even 6th rank, they certainly wouldn't allow Lin Yuan to continue to grow. The martial path evolutionary path has the potential to grow into an 8th-layer evolutionary path, and Lin Yuan had a slim chance of becoming the next evolver scholar of human civilization. Assassinating Lin Yuan, even at a great cost, would be much lighter than facing the consequences on the battlefield due to Lin Yuan's research and inventions, which could lead to the fall of untold numbers of alien strong ones. Lin Yuan's thoughts converged. Listening to Mr. Lu's opinions. I think the martial path evolutionary path is not purely based on vital energy but integrates spiritual power, soul power, and mental strength among others. Mr. Lu spoke eloquently. The president of the Kanglin Evolution Academy nodded slightly, feeling that what Mr. Lu said made sense. Of course, this did not mean that what Lin Yuan said was not reasonable. Studying the martial path evolutionary path, everyone has their own views and insights. That's completely normal. Indeed, Lin Yuan's evolutive talent could be regarded as the best in Kanglin Star. He had reached the 4th rank before the age of 100. But precisely because of this, most of Lin Yuan's time was undoubtedly spent practicing. In contrast, although Mr. Lu's evolutive talent did not match Lin Yuan's. In recent years, since the martial path evolutionary path entered the Kanglin evolution ranking, he began his research. A deeper understanding of the martial path evolutionary path was only natural. All right. Both Mr. Lu and Mr. Lin have their valid points. Although everyone has different views, we are all serving human civilization. Mr. Lin, please don't mind. Mr. Lu is like that, sometimes even daring to challenge the president. Professor Chu chuckled, smoothing things over. It's okay. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. He actually didn't mind Mr. Lu's questioning earlier, mainly because Lin Yuan found it hard to care, as every word Mr. Lu said was praising the martial path evolutionary path, and praising the martial path evolutionary path was essentially praising Lin Yuan as its founder, right? That's good then. Professor Chu nodded approvingly. Returning to the virtual world personal space, Lin Yuan contemplated the discussion he just had with those professors, mentioning their views and understandings of the martial path evolutionary path, which in turn gave him more insights and feelings. Practicing and learning are never done in isolation. Occasionally one must also interact with the outside world. Against Heaven's understanding is based on the depth of understanding and enlightenment Lin Yuan reaches at his level. The more Lin Yuan knew, and the broader his vision, the greater the effect of his Against Heaven's understanding. After examining himself, Lin Yuan noticed a little red dot on the Founder's Virtual World category. Someone contacted me? Lin Yuan instantly understood what this red dot meant. During his 4th traversal, in order to avoid disturbances, he had shut down any means to contact him. Message alert in Founder's World was naturally included. Who would contact me? Lin Yuan was curious. He was a newcomer to Founder's World, knowing no one and having no friends. So, Lin Yuan entered Founder's Virtual World. Is it the person who posted that post? Lin Yuan's expression became slightly serious. Chapter 193 Rule Crystal, Subscribe Request, _2 The problem with this post was, is it better to understand one rule or multiple rules? At the time, Lin Yuan gave an answer based on himself, never expecting a reply from the owner of the post. After all, the post had been published 23,000 years ago. The owner of the post might have long since died. How can one rule govern 10,000? Is it the time Great Tao or the space Great Tao? Lin Yuan looked at the reply from the owner of the post and fell into deep thought. He used his own Taiji Dao to govern the myriad Daos, but as for the time Great Tao and the space Great Tao, they were too remote for Lin Yuan. Whether it was the rule of time or space rules, both were among the supreme rules, only accessible to existences beyond the 6th rank. Lin Yuan was merely at the 5th rank. Even with his Against Heaven's understanding, he could hardly perceive time and space. With the rules mastered as the framework and many other rules as the flesh, naturally, one can govern 10,000 Daos. Lin Yuan thought for a while before voicing his viewpoint. In the distant reaches, a massive research planet. Great Scholar Te was just yawning, his research work was now at a halt, and he was free for the next few decades. A reply. Great Scholar Te immediately perked up. To be informed the moment his question was answered, Great Scholar Te had marked the founder's world as special concern. He would receive notifications the moment there was any news. Framework? Flesh? Too vague. Great Scholar Te frowned slightly and continued, how exactly do you build your own framework of rules? Central Continent Manor on Kanglan Star. Lin Yuan had just replied when he received a new question. This person is just squatting there, huh? Lin Yuan scrutinized the inquiry before carefully responding, combining the power of Taiyin with the power of Taiyang to form a stable microdomain accommodating myriad Daoists. Is he planning to open a realm? Great Scholar Te marveled, following his brief exchange with Lin Yuan. Great Scholar Te determined that Lin Yuan was not another scholar. To become an evolver scholar, one must at least create and cultivate a new, stable 8th rank evolutionary path. This meant that an evolver scholar was at least a 8th rank evolver. The answers Lin Yuan gave him, while not wrong, didn't seem to come from an 8th rank evolver. At least, the formation of a stable domain combining the power of Taiyin and the power of Taiyang was akin to a nascent form of opening a realm. Impressive, preparing for opening a realm before reaching the 8th rank, and without any teacher's guidance, such limitless potential, Great Scholar Te murmured to himself. No wonder the goddess of wisdom guards him so closely. Great Scholar Te glanced around. He was well aware that, as a scholar like him, he was constantly under the surveillance of the goddess of wisdom, as much for protection as to prevent him from acting out. An evolver scholar going mad could have unpredictable consequences. Let's ask a few more questions. Interest piqued. It had been a long time since Great Scholar Te had encountered such an engaging junior. Following that, Great Scholar Te and Lin Yuan talked for over half an hour. Great Scholar Te watched in astonishment as, through his subtle guidance, even discussed other methods of opening a realm. Great Scholar Te clearly felt that the so-called methods of opening a realm were completely unknown to Lin Yuan, who didn't even know what the methods of opening a realm were. But as the conversation with Great Scholar Te deepened, Lin Yuan quickly grasped the understanding of several other opening a realm methods, terrifyingly improving. So much so that even he, an evolver scholar, was shocked. Is he pretending or does he genuinely not know? Great Scholar Te was somewhat baffled. From Lin Yuan's tone while answering, Great Scholar Te was sure he was genuinely unaware and had never encountered the methods of opening a realm. Yet if he truly didn't know, how could his grasp of the principles of opening a realm advance so rapidly? He understood them after just a few hints? A genius, a peerless genius. Great Scholar Te immediately rose and paced back and forth. Has he logged off? Great Scholar Te discovered that Lin Yuan had suddenly disconnected from the virtual world. Kanglan Star, Central Continent Manor. His chat with Great Scholar Te had deeply impacted Lin Yuan, forcing him to disconnect and return to the real world to focus on the martial path evolutionary path. With Taiji governing 10,000 Daoists. But what if it isn't Taiji? Can it still govern 10,000 Daoists? Lin Yuan's mind burst with countless spiritual lights. You have against heaven's understanding, you analyze one Dao that controls all other Daoists, and continue to refine the martial path evolutionary path. You have against heaven's understanding, you analyze one Dao that controls all other Daoists, and continue to refine the martial path evolutionary path. You have against heaven's understanding, you analyze one Dao that controls all other Daoists, and continue to refine the martial path evolutionary path. Lin Yuan fell into deep cultivation. He even blocked most of the external perceptions. Fortunately, Lin Yuan often did this, and his parents had basically gotten used to it. As long as Lin Yuan didn't come out, they wouldn't actively disturb him. Several days later, Lin Yuan opened his eyes. This period of seclusion had a significant impact on him, even causing him to start rethinking the foundations of martial Tao. That person, at least a high-rank evolver, is no weaker than my teacher, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Through just a few conversations, Lin Yuan had learned a great deal. While Lin Yuan continued to ponder, the alert from the smart assistant rang out. Master, you have a delivery. It's sent by Shuntong Group, it's S-level encrypted. A delivery? Lin Yuan was slightly stunned. But upon hearing Shuntong Group and S-level encryption, he was immediately shocked. Shuntong Group, the largest transportation group in the cosmic human civilization, its business scope is not limited to the human alliance. In the cosmic starry skies, human civilization dominates far and wide, encountering numerous enemies, but also many allies and affiliated races. Anywhere the human civilization can reach is within the transport range of Shuntong Group. As for reliability and secrecy, Shuntong Group is an officially endorsed group by human civilization, absolutely confidential and reliable. It is of the same echelon as the Central Galaxy Bank. Of course, Shuntong Group's fees are very high, starting from billions at the very least. The price for S-level encrypted delivery begins at 100 billion. As for how much exactly, it depends on the size of the item and whether it has other functions that affect the use. For instance, transporting a stone versus transporting a planet, the prices naturally differ. An S-level encrypted transport is among the high-level services of Shuntong Group, accompanied by 8 6th-rank evolvers and 1 7th-rank evolver as escorts. Their movements are kept completely confidential. Apart from Lin Yuan, the recipient, outsiders could not possibly know. When did I? Lin Yuan was somewhat hesitant. At that moment, Chikuan Star Lord suddenly sent a message. My dear disciple, the thing should have arrived, right? Is it from the teacher? Lin Yuan felt slightly reassured. If he had not figured out who it was from, Lin Yuan would most likely not accept it. But now, teacher, what is it that needs S-level encryption by Shuntong Group? Lin Yuan was a bit heartbroken. That's 100 billion civilization currency. You will know once you have it. Chikuan Star Lord said mysteriously. All right. Lin Yuan nodded. He immediately left the main building. He went outside to the manor. A man dressed in a black uniform was already waiting there. This man appeared very ordinary, no different from other delivery personnel. But Lin Yuan knew, to ensure that the item was delivered into the hands of the recipient, the last person to handle it was often the strongest in the transport team. Shuntong Group's S-level encryption required a 7th-rank evolver to accompany. That is to say, this man in a black uniform was a 7th-rank evolver. Sir. The man in the black uniform was slightly respectful. Being able to afford Shuntong Group's S-level encryption, his status even when surpassing 6th rank, was extremely high. Hello. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. He then went through fingerprint, pupil, and soul wave authentication. After confirming that Lin Yuan was the recipient himself, the man in the black uniform handed over a regular black briefcase to Lin Yuan. The moment Lin Yuan received the briefcase, his expression subtly changed. Chapter 194 Martial Tao shouldn't be so trivial. Please subscribe. It's so heavy. Lin Yuan looked down at the black suitcase again. It was only 50 centimeters in length and width, but it weighed at least 10 tons. The handover is complete. Then he'll be taking my leave first. The man in the black uniform gave a slight smile. He turned and left. From start to finish. This was a seemingly ordinary delivery and receipt of goods. If Lin Yuan had not been forewarned, he wouldn't have thought more about it. What exactly did teacher send me? Lin Yuan carried the black suitcase back to the main building. The weight of 10 tons was naturally not a problem for Lin Yuan's current physical condition. Lin Yuan was surprised just now because he did not expect the black suitcase to weigh 10 tons. Let's open it and see. Lin Yuan returned to the underground training ground. Beep. He went through fingerprint, pupil, and soul wave authentication again. The black suitcase slowly opened. What came into view was a fist-sized black gold box. Lin Yuan could tell that the suitcase's whopping 10-ton weight was almost entirely due to this black gold box. Click. With all the previous verifications, Lin Yuan easily opened the black gold box this time. Lin Yuan saw that in the center of the black gold box lay a stone the size of a pinky fingernail. The stone was crimson. Looking at this stone, Lin Yuan felt as though he was observing a perpetual star. Lin Yuan closely observed the fingernail-sized stone. Every detail of it, the textures on its surface, the traces, all stirred a huge tidal wave in Lin Yuan's heart. This is the rule, the essence of the world's rules. Lin Yuan felt excited. If it were another evolver, they might not recognize what this stone was. Even some 6th rank evolvers might not recognize it. But Lin Yuan was different. Having experienced the divine arms world, Lin Yuan was extremely sensitive to the essence rules of the world. This fingernail-sized stone was far from manifesting the essential rules outwardly. In the divine arms world, even the smallest piece of a divine weapon, the volume of rules essence it contained, far exceeded that of this stone. But this is the main world. A single hair from an elephant weighs infinitely more than an ant. Not to mention the difference between the main world and the divine arms world is more than that between an elephant and an ant. This stone, far from outwardly manifesting essential rules, barely even qualifies as an imprint, merely tainted with a bit of the essence of the rules. Yet to Lin Yuan, it felt more significant than all the divine weapons in the divine arms world combined. Hotness. Vastness. Many essences manifested on this stone. With this stone as a reference for my enlightenment, it will be much easier for me to forge ahead on the martial path evolutionary path and break through to the 6th rank. It's like having a math problem that Lin Yuan could only solve slowly before, but now he has a plethora of related reference materials. Solving this problem will definitely be much easier. Even with all these supplementary materials, they are immensely helpful for Lin Yuan in solving the next problem and the ones after that. Teacher. Lin Yuan connected to the virtual world. He arrived at the palace of the Qikuan Star Lord. You're here? The Qikuan Star Lord looked at Lin Yuan with an expectant expression. Have you seen that thing? How do you feel about it? Teacher, Lin Yuan hesitated. It's too precious, I can't accept. Even though Lin Yuan was unclear about the value of items related to the rules in the main world. Solely in transporting this stone, the Qikuan Star Lord had utilized the S-grade encryption of the $1 trillion Shantong group. It was clear that its value was far beyond $1 trillion. It was even an invaluable treasure that money couldn't buy. You are my disciple, what can't you accept? The Qikuan Star Lord said nonchalantly. Besides, at my current level, items like this are of no use to me anyway. Rather than letting them waste away, it's better to use them. Thank you, teacher. Lin Yuan nodded. He also understood that the Qikuan Star Lord's words were merely to comfort him. Not needing them himself, they could have been sold or even traded for something he needed. How about it? What do you think of that stone? The Qikuan Star Lord continued to ask. It has inspired me greatly, Lin Yuan said earnestly. That's good. A smile appeared on the Qikuan Star Lord's face. Good disciple, if I were to forcefully guide you, it would only restrict and fix your path. That stone, a rule crystal, contains the essence that is a boundless great Tao. If you can fully comprehend the mysteries contained within the stone, surpassing the 6th rank should be no problem, the Qikuan Star Lord spoke. Returning from the Qikuan Star Lord's place, Lin Yuan's gaze once again fell on the fingernail-sized stone. It's so profound, Lin Yuan was almost addicted. The crimson stone, related to the Taiyang rule, Lin Yuan studied it carefully, able to continuously enhance his understanding of the Taiyang rule. Just like that, Lin Yuan devoted a significant portion of each day to reflecting on this stone. For the rest of his time, he continued perfecting the martial path evolutionary path and pondered how to break through to the 6th rank. Lin Yuan had long possessed the ability to break through to the 6th rank. But exactly where to start required careful consideration. Once he began the breakthrough to the 6th rank, his soul would actively align with his evolutionary path. This was crucial. If his soul achieved perfect alignment with his evolutionary path, he could step into the 6th rank. Advancing from 5th rank to 6th rank isn't an instantaneous or quick process. It takes time, quickly a few years or slowly hundreds or thousands of years. Many 5th rank evolvers at their peak struggle with soul alignment, unable to step into the 6th rank for hundreds or even thousands of years. Chapter 195 Martial Tao shouldn't be so trivial. Please subscribe. Understood. Virtual World. Kanglin Evolution Academy Large Classroom. Classes had not yet begun, but thousands of students had arrived early, taken their seats, and were waiting eagerly. Have you heard? The one lecturing us this time is Lin Yuan, the champion of the arena competition, Lin Yuan himself. Nonsense, could I have come so early if I hadn't heard about it? That's Lin Yuan we're talking about. In the tens of thousands of years of Kanglin Star, he is the evolver with the strongest evolutionary talent who stepped into the 4th rank before the age of 100. Yeah, being a second layer evolver before I'm 100 would satisfy me. You're thinking about second layer? The thousands of students began to discuss softly. The students who could sit in this classroom were the most potential-filled students of Kanglin Evolution Academy and represented the future hope of Kanglin Star. At this moment, everyone was filled with anticipation, waiting for the arrival of the lecturer. Whoosh! Just then, a young man appeared on the podium. The next moment, the classroom fell completely silent. All students fixated their eyes on the young man. Hello, everyone. Lin Yuan casually greeted. As an honorary professor at Kanglin Evolution Academy, Lin Yuan enjoyed the many privileges and benefits of a professor's level, and although he was only an honorary professor, he still had to at least deliver 1 or 2 lectures. Half an hour later, Lin Yuan had finished citing the textbook material verbatim. He then began to ask the students about the problems they encountered on their evolutionary path. Mr. Lin. A girl with a ponytail raised her hand. You ask. Lin Yuan nodded. Thank you, Mr. Lin. The ponytailed girl was somewhat surprised. Many students had raised their hands simultaneously, yet Lin Yuan had chosen her. Mr. Lin, my development pathway is the martial path evolutionary path. The ponytailed girl volunteered her evolutionary path. This was quite normal, as every evolutionary path had distinct features, and revealing the specific path one was cultivating helped the teacher better frame the subsequent questions. Martial path? Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Nowadays, the martial path evolutionary path had become the most popular evolutionary path on Kanglin Star. Of the thousands of students present, at least 1/10 were pursuing the martial path evolutionary path. Of course, these students had just started practicing, and the vast majority were not yet ranked. I see that later in the martial path evolutionary path, it requires the comprehension of both Tai-yin and Tai-yang forces, but I am naturally slow to sense these 2 kinds of power. Does this mean I'm not suited for the martial path? The ponytailed girl timidly asked. With this question, the other students instantly perked up their ears. They, too, wanted to know the answer to this question since Tai-yin and Tai-yang energies belonged to the higher echelons of energy, not perceived by just anyone. Most evolvers were still more sensitive to the basic energies of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. This question, Lin Yuan looked around. If he had to answer, Lin Yuan could indeed provide one. That would be that everything possesses yin and yang, such as the thunder attributes, which also have distinctions of yin and yang, along with metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Even if you do not have the ability to comprehend Tai-yin and Tai-yang, you can still sense what you are capable of perceiving, such as the power of gold, and after comprehending the power of gold entirely, delve into its aspects of yin and yang, subsequently leading to Tai-yin and Tai-yang energies. However, this answer, though understandable to Lin Yuan and likely other 5th or 6th rank evolvers, most of the unranked evolver students present would not understand. Not only would they not understand, but they also wouldn't be able to achieve it. Given that Lin Yuan didn't want to say it, I am also researching this problem. Once I have the results, I will definitely let you know, Lin Yuan spoke. All right. The ponytailed girl didn't find it strange. Although Lin Yuan's evolutionary talent was considered the best on Kanglin Star, compared to that mysterious scholar who had founded the martial path evolutionary path, he naturally fell short. It was perfectly normal for Lin Yuan not to know the answer to a question that even that mysterious scholar hadn't explained. After completing the lecture, Lin Yuan disconnected from the virtual world. Sitting cross-legged in the underground training field, the question from the ponytailed girl during the class had plunged Lin Yuan into deep thought. For a long time, Lin Yuan established the martial path evolutionary path. It was entirely based on his own perspective. First tier chapter. Second layer chapter. The yin-yang chapter in the second layer chapter. Third rank chapter, Taiyin rule, Taiyang rule. Fourth rank chapter. Fifth rank chapter, Taiyin primordial spirit, Taiyang divine spirit, Taiji primordial spirit. Everything was completely based on himself. But who was Lin Yuan? He possessed against heaven's understanding, could infer tenfold, 100-fold from one fact. Lin Yuan could understand, could realize, could absorb. Could others do the same? For instance, the Taiyin Taiyang Taiji, the content of the second layer chapter of the martial path evolutionary path. But wanting to grasp Taiji, let alone Taiji, even just Taiyin or Taiyang was exceedingly difficult for others. In the Dragon Tiger world, those who had realized the Taiyang pole extreme and the Taiyin pole extreme were heavenly masters unmatched in hundreds to thousands of years. And they still needed the true martial sword to achieve this. The cultivation environment of the main world, although far superior to the Dragon Tiger world, did not provide many resources for the most ordinary citizens. From the second layer chapter onwards, martial arts are no longer applicable to ordinary citizens. Lin Yuan's expression remained calm, his thoughts churning. With the current martial path evolutionary path. The second layer chapter required realizing one of the Taiyin or Taiyang. If one couldn't realize it, it would be very difficult to advance further. One could foresee, countless citizens would be trapped at this step. Lin Yuan slowly closed his eyes. Martial arts should not be so limited. At that moment, numerous insights surged up in his mind. Recently, in the founder's virtual world, he conversed with that mysterious existence who had left behind posts from 23,000 years ago about controlling myriad things other than Taiji. The other myriad Dao techniques were quickly utilized by Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan started from the second layer chapter, reintegrating martial arts, and removed the restriction that progress required solely Taiyin or Taiyang. From now on, martial Dao cultivators were not confined to Taiyin or Taiyang alone. As long as one could sense it, powers like metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, ice, and many others were all acceptable for continued cultivation. Starting from the second layer, one would determine a path that suits oneself, and by the fifth rank, condense out the corresponding attributes primordial spirit. The primordial spirits mentioned here are not only Yin God and Yang spirit, but also golden primordial spirit, water spirit, and wood spirit are possible. Endless and infinite. Inclusive of all things. Just as Lin Yuan was perfecting the martial path evolutionary path. His soul suddenly began to vibrate intensely. Immediately his aura began to change, slowly transitioning towards the martial path evolutionary path. Didn't expect that. This is indeed the best way for me to break through to the sixth rank. Lin Yuan took a deep breath. Perfecting the martial path evolutionary path, freeing it from the limitations of Taiyin and Taiyang, directly allowed Lin Yuan to seize the best opportunity to break through to the sixth rank. This opportunity, many fifth-rank ultimate evolvers might not catch even in tens to hundreds of years. Even the previous Lin Yuan was hesitating about how to break through to the sixth rank. But now, everything was very clear. This natural breakthrough was undoubtedly the most perfect path to stepping into the sixth rank. A month later, Lin Yuan emerged from seclusion. Breaking through from the fifth rank to the sixth rank wasn't something that could be achieved in a short time. It required the soul's slow transformation and transition. Rest for a while. Lin Yuan planned to balance work with rest. He was not like those evolvers who were nearing their lives' limit. At his current age, Lin Yuan was only 20 years old, with plenty of time to enjoy life. So many people looking for me? Lin Yuan opened the information panel and discovered that during his seclusion many people had visited him, but because he was in seclusion, they had been dealt with by his smart assistant. Yet still, 7 or 8 people insisted on meeting Lin Yuan. They were still waiting for him to come out. Let's meet them then. Lin Yuan clicked approve. Instantly there appeared a middle-aged man with golden hair in front of him. Puan Star Domain, Xiangwen Group, Zhou he greets Mr. Lin Yuan. The middle-aged man with golden hair slightly bowed and said respectfully, Xiangwen Group. Lin Yuan thought for a moment. He immediately recalled that this group was a rather famous one in the Puan Star domain, with a 6th rank fallen star warrior in its ranks. The Puan Star domain was a star domain next to the Chikuan Star domain, and due to its proximity, it had frequent trade interactions with many powers in the Chikuan Star domain. Speak. What's the matter? Lin Yuan spoke casually. Our Xiangwen group sincerely invites Mr. Lin Yuan to become a member of our next tournament's preparatory team. As long as Mr. Lin Yuan agrees, the conditions are up to you, the middle-aged man with golden hair said. You mean, let me join your group and then participate in the next tournament? Lin Yuan glanced at the middle-aged man with golden hair. Chapter 196, The Heiyu Family, please subscribe. Indeed. With Mr. Lin's talent and ability, Kanglan Star was always too small. Just a middle-grade life planet. My Xiangwen group has a 6th rank fallen star warrior in residence. That's the stage truly suited for Mr. Lin Yuan. The blonde middle-aged man, smiling, continued, Moreover, Lord Xiangwen holds Mr. Lin in high regard and might even personally offer some guidance in the future. Lord Xiangwen is the 6th rank fallen star warrior behind the Xiangwen group. The guidance of a 6th rank evolver is a great opportunity for most evolvers. 6th rank evolvers possess the power of fallen stars. From their high positions with a mere few casual tips, they could provoke sudden enlightenment in 4th or 5th rank evolvers. The blonde middle-aged man believed that Lin Yuan would find it hard to ignore this condition. Lin Yuan indeed had great potential, having entered 4th rank before the age of 100, with a good chance to become a 5th rank evolver in the future. But that was about it. Thinking of progressing further and breaking through to the 6th rank level still seemed a remote hope. Therefore, the guidance of a 6th rank evolver was certainly not to be missed. Sorry, I'm not interested in joining other factions. Lin Yuan shook his head and said, What a joke. According to the blonde middle-aged man, joining the Xiangwen group would require signing numerous contracts. It even required Lin Yuan to personally go to the headquarters of the Xiangwen group for scrutiny. And the conditions offered by the blonde middle-aged man, while attractive to ordinary 4th rank evolvers, what about to Lin Yuan? Furthermore, Lin Yuan's true identity, the peak master of the Red Kun lineage, was almost akin to the status of a prince in an empire, and not just any prince, but one with real power. If he joined the Xiangwen group, it would be akin to fighting in arena competitions for other star domains. How absurd is that? Mr. Lin, won't you reconsider? The blonde middle-aged man's face slightly changed. Although the Xiangwen group was not in the Chikuan star domain, it was still a major force with a 6th rank fallen star warrior at its core. Even if Lin Yuan had other options and wouldn't join the Xiangwen group, there was no need to outright say it. Mincing his words a bit would help save some face for everyone. As I said, I'm not interested, and I won't reconsider. Lin Yuan shook his head. His primary goal now was to step into 6th rank as quickly as possible. All other matters unrelated to this breakthrough were just trivia. Okay. Lord Xiangwen would probably be quite disappointed to learn of this. The blonde middle-aged man, his face turning a bit ugly, stood up intending to take his leave. What's the matter? Is your Lord Xiangwen going to come over here and teach me a lesson? Lin Yuan spoke. In the Cosmic Human Alliance, laws are robust. The more powerful the evolver, the greater the restrictions they face. Even those esteemed evolutionary scholars high above could not act wantonly, let alone a 6th rank. If that Lord Xiangwen dared come to Kanglan Star, revealing any intent to act against Lin Yuan would report him to the Goddess of Wisdom. Can't beat you? Couldn't I still report you? Of course, Lin Yuan felt it unlikely that Lord Xiangwen would come. It was even possible that Lord Xiangwen was not even aware of who Lin Yuan was. I hope Mr. Lin's path of evolution will always be smooth. The blonde middle-aged man's face was ashen, implicitly suggesting that Lin Yuan should not look to the Xiangwen group for help in the future. Get out. Lin Yuan directly kicked the blonde middle-aged man out of his personal room. Once Lin Yuan stepped into 6th rank, he could openly reveal his identity as the peak master of the 13th peak of the Red Kun lineage. By then, forces like the Xiangwen group would be too eager to curry favor with Lin Yuan. Personal space. Lin Yuan sat alone on a wooden chair. Arena competitions, Lin Yuan pondered with a thoughtful expression. Arena competitions are one of the hottest, most attention-grabbing activities within the Human Civilization Alliance. And being hot and attention-grabbing means enormous traffic. This traffic leads to a series of industry chains involving massive amounts of money. Why would groups like the Xianguan Group or other powerful financial oligarchies specially train teams to participate in various arena competitions? Could it really just be for honor or something like that? Of course not. If an evolver can advance to a certain rank in the arena competition, like top 100 or top 10, they're sure to attract a lot of attention. At that time, just placing an advertisement or printing a logo of some group or oligarchy on their clothing could generate enormous popularity. And advertising is just the most common method of monetization. Each session of the arena competitions also features betting houses set up beforehand. Before the competition, you choose a competitor you think will win. If they do, you'll receive a significant sum of money in accordance with the odds. Of course, to ensure fairness, under the scrutiny of the goddess of wisdom, the possibility of fixed matches is nearly eliminated. It is for this reason that all major forces and financial oligarchies are very keen on finding potential evolvers from obscure middle-grade life planets and then supporting them to participate in star system and star domain level arena competitions. These evolvers from middle-grade life planets, with low exposure and no systematic training, if they receive support from a major force, their strength can significantly improve in a short period of time. When the star domain level arena competitions begin, they will enter the arena as dark horses. After all, in the eyes of most citizens, a player who has already gained some fame and has completed 10 consecutive wins, 20 consecutive wins, battling against someone who has never been heard of before, most citizens would definitely bet on the former to win. Besides the two methods mentioned above. Chapter 197, The Heiyu Family, please subscribe. _2 The tournament offers many ways to profit, and the most long-lasting is to build a fanbase and cultivate star evolvers. Within the Cosmic Human Alliance, the top star evolvers have countless fans, many of whom are second-generation members of powerful forces. The influence of their every action is astonishing. So, I've already qualified as a dark horse in the eyes of those corporate conglomerates? Lin Yuan stroked his chin, shaking his head slightly. Indeed, in the previous tournament, even though Lin Yuan only showed a portion of his strength, it was 4th rank. A 4th rank evolver under 100 years old might be somewhat common on prosperous higher-grade life planets. But on a middle-grade life planet like Kanglin Star, it might take tens or even hundreds of thousands of years for one to appear. The education, cultivation, and resources of middle-grade life planets are far inferior to those of higher-grade life planets. In such an environment, reaching 4th rank, whether it be by fortuitous encounter or luck, isn't much weaker than the top evolvers from higher-grade life planets. That's why Lin Yuan caught the eye of the Xianguan Group, who specially sent someone to invite him. The goddess of wisdom turns a blind eye to such things because the invitations from major forces and conglomerates might constrain the evolvers, but they also cultivate them, and, constrained by the laws of human civilization, the contracts these conglomerates sign with evolving geniuses aren't too excessive. Even in cases of breach, the penalty isn't exorbitant, Lin Yuan thought to himself. With gains come sacrifices, and this is the unwritten rule accepted by the Human Alliance. Seeking to take advantage of one's genius status, ignoring contracts and agreements that would not be supported by the 3 goddesses. My current soul compatibility, Lin Yuan's consciousness returned to reality, and he began to feel more intently, is probably about 80% complete. At this rate, he'll reach full compatibility in at most 2 years, enough to officially step into 6th rank. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. 6th rank holds a special significance for every evolver. Below 6th rank, no matter how powerful, life forms are still terrestrial and need the environment within a planet to survive. Once they leave the planet and come into the starry void, it becomes hard for them to continue living. But at 6th rank, one can roam the starry sea, and all 6th rank evolvers are thus called star life forms. Furthermore, 6th rank is a phase of qualitative change in strength. Why did Lin Yuan only need to cultivate to 6th rank to openly reveal his identity as the peak master of the Red Kun lineage? Because evolvers at 6th rank are difficult to assassinate. At the very least, their means of ensuring their safety are far superior to those at 5th rank. Typically, unless absolutely necessary, different species wouldn't try to assassinate a 6th rank evolver, as the cost is too great, equivalent to the cost of cultivating dozens of 7th rank powerhouses. And that's still without any guarantee of killing the 6th rank evolver. The conversion speed of soul compatibility is unstable. It might be fast initially and slow down later on, or it could be slow at the beginning and speed up later. My current compatibility transformation is still normal, Lin Yuan continued his observation. But soul compatibility can be interrupted before reaching 1/10, allowing the choice of another evolution path. After stepping into 6th rank, the cost of changing evolution path skyrockets. But Lin Yuan, strictly speaking, has not yet stepped into 6th rank, still being within 5th rank. Among the many evolution paths I've mastered, the most powerful is undoubtedly the Xian Huang evolutionary path. If I were to use this as the direction for soul transformation, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before immediately dismissing the thought. Even if the Xian Huang evolutionary path is strong, it isn't created by Lin Yuan. Using it as the fundamental evolution path might seem beneficial in the short term, but over a longer timeline, it might not be advantageous. Lin Yuan feels more confident in the martial path evolutionary path. The Xian Huang evolutionary path can be studied and even practiced concurrently, but it must not become the foundation. All other evolution paths, including the Xian Huang evolutionary path, can only serve as nourishment to perfect the martial path evolutionary path. Let's continue to perfect the martial path evolutionary path. Lin Yuan's mind sank back into the martial path evolutionary path. In Lin Yuan's latest vision, the martial path evolutionary path has transcended chapters like the Taiyin chapter, the Taiyang chapter, and the Yin Yang chapter. Various attributes of power could all be integrated into the martial arts evolution system. Whichever attribute an evolver is good at, they can enter into martial Tao to cultivate. Martial Tao shouldn't be so meager, it should be infinitely expansive. Lin Yuan found that when perfecting the martial path evolutionary path in this direction, the speed of his soul's compatibility transformation would gain a certain increase. While perfecting the martial arts evolution system, Lin Yuan examined the reddish stone sent by the Qikuan Star Lord. In his spare time, he refused the invitations from the financial conglomerates of various star domains. Aside from the Xiangwen group who noticed Lin Yuan's potential to become a dark horse, other powers took note as well. In the interstellar age, any slightly powerful force has its own think tank, tirelessly planning and taking actions that align with their interests based on information about human civilization and even different species. As a 4th rank under 100 years old from a middle-grade life planet, Lin Yuan, with great potential and a relatively low price tag, is extremely welcome. As for these forces' invitations. Chapter 198. The Heiyu Family, please subscribe. _3 At first, Lin Yuan still managed to make time for a meeting. He clearly expressed his attitude. But in the end, the frequency was simply too high. Lin Yuan simply stopped meeting with them, leaving it to the intelligent assistant to cope. If it had been announced initially that I had passed the 7-star cave test, Lin Yuan slightly shook his head. If it were only like Fang Qing, merely passing the test and becoming an official member of the Red Kun lineage, perhaps these powers wouldn't have invited him so insistently. After all, as an official member of the Red Kun lineage, where is the sense in working for other powers? The Red Kun lineage itself is the most powerful force. However, doing so would require Lin Yuan to take a spaceship battleship to the Qikuan main star with those like Fang Qing who had passed the test. This was the normal procedure for each batch joining the Red Kun lineage. Lin Yuan was able to stay on Kanglin's star all this time, entirely because he was the peak master of Shursan, enjoying many privileges. Even the gift from the Qikuan Star Lord had to be delivered through the express efforts of the Shuntong group, costing hundreds of billions of civilization coins. On this day, Lin Yuan had just finished cultivating. The voice of the intelligent assistant then came through. Master, the person who is visiting this time comes from the Heiyu family, namely the subordinate of Heiyu Ao, who is the 3,821st son of Heiyu Mo. The Heiyu family? Lin Yuan's eyebrows slightly furrowed. The Heiyu family is a force within the Qikuan star domain, ranking within the top 5 among the many powers beside the Red Kuan lineage. The strongest of the Heiyu family, Heiyu Mo, is an existence that surpasses the 6th rank. The Heiyu family. Lin Yuan pondered for a while. Let's meet. He could ignore other powers and financial groups, partly because most of them are 6th rank forces, and Lin Yuan, on the path to becoming a 6th rank evolver, saw it only as a matter of time. Secondly, most invitations were from groups from outside the Qikuan star domain, with no need for excessive intimacy. But the Heiyu family was different. As a native force of the Qikuan star domain, when Lin Yuan would step into 6th rank and reveal his identity, he might have to interact with them. Whoosh! Lin Yuan connected his consciousness to the virtual world. His personal space. Lin Yuan agreed to enter. An old man dressed in a black suit, as elegant as a nobleman, appeared before him. Bei Zhao, on behalf of my young master Heiyu Ao, greets Mr. Lin Yuan. The old man in the black suit, Bei Zhao, had a very low posture, and his tone was slightly respectful. He then stated the terms for inviting Lin Yuan to join under Heiyu Ao. I'm not really interested in arena battles at the moment, sorry. Lin Yuan tried to soften his tone as he spoke. Is that so? The expression of the old man in the black suit, Bei Zhao, showed no change. After standing up to take his leave, he disappeared on the spot. Quite reasonable? Lin Yuan slightly nodded. The representatives of those powers who had invited him, upon being rejected, most would usually hint at or outright threaten him. Inside a splendid palace, Heiyu Ao was seated on the throne, deep in thought. At that moment, the figure of the old man in the black suit, Bei Zhao, appeared. Which tier of contract did that Lin Yuan choose? Heiyu Ao said casually. Before sending Bei Zhao to invite Lin Yuan, Heiyu Ao had set 5 tiers of contracts. The higher the tier of the contract, the more support for Lin Yuan and also the greater the restrictions. He left it to Lin Yuan to choose any tier he desired. Young master. The old man in the black suit, Bei Zhao, bowed slightly. Lin Yuan has declined the young master's invitation. The old man in the black suit said softly. He declined my invitation? On the throne, Heiyu Ao felt slightly taken aback. He looked down at the old man in the black suit, Bei Zhao. Chapter 199 Target, 6th rank, please subscribe, young master. I have made all the terms clear. But that Lin Yuan he still refused. Says he's not interested in the competitive arena. Bei Zhao, the elderly man in black dress, immediately said, Is that so? Heiyu Ao rose from the throne, frowning slightly. He believed he had been more than generous, offering very high terms in all 5 tiers of the contract. Especially the lowest tier of the contract, which required only 100 years of Lin Yuan service to Heiyu Ao, would enable him to receive ample resources for nurture. For a 4th rank or 5th rank evolver, 100 years is not a long time, and to serve Heiyu Ao? That is a blessing most ordinary evolvers could only dream of. Yet Lin Yuan had refused. This was an outcome Heiyu Ao had never expected. Heiyu Ao, exceeding 6th rank within the Heiyu family and a direct descendant of Heiyu Mo, didn't know how many evolvers would take the initiative to pledge loyalty to him. But Heiyu Ao didn't regard them highly. Now, having finally taken a liking to Lin Yuan, the latter didn't reciprocate the interest? What exactly is going on? Has the reputation of my Heiyu family fallen to such a degree? Heiyu Ao was somewhat vexed. Kanglin Star, Central Continent Manor. Lin Yuan emerged from the underground training ground and called over Ho Ming, the captain of the guard troops. Greetings, Mr. Lin, 6th rank evolver Ho Ming said respectfully. I want to ask you about something. Lin Yuan sat in his seat, lightly tapping the armrest with his right hand. That member of He Yuao's forces had left directly after being refused by him, which piqued Lin Yuan's curiosity. Are you familiar with the Heyu family? Lin Yuan looked at Ho Ming and inquired. The Heyu family? Ho Ming was slightly stunned, then nodded, saying, I know them, one of the 5 major powers in the Qikuan star domain. The strongest force in the Qikuan star domain is undoubtedly the Red Kuan lineage, which the entire star domain was named after. Beneath the Red Kuan lineage, there are 5 major powers, and the Heyu family is one of them. When the Star Lord had not long taken over the star domain, Heyu Mo brought his family, crossing several star domains, to settle in the Qikuan star domain. The Star Lord, acknowledging Heyu Mo's plight, handed over some of the trade in the star domain to the Heyu family, which paved the way for them to become one of the 5 major powers today. Ho Ming spoke rapidly. Although he was an evolver secretly cultivated by the Red Kuan lineage, he was not oblivious to the outside world. Moreover, having lived long enough, he was aware of some information that had ceased to be common knowledge. I see. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. He understood now. In summary, that Heyu Mo was nothing more than the teacher's lapdog. Have you heard of Heyu Ao? Lin Yuan continued to inquire. If he remembered correctly, the one who had invited him to join was Heyu Ao. Heyu Ao? Ho Ming thought for a moment and replied, Is he Heyu Mo's youngest son? Heyu Mo had thousands of descendants, and it was only due to the exceptional memory of evolvers that one could remember so many names. Especially the names of the Heyu family, which sounded quite similar, were easy to confuse for outsiders. Right. Just now, he invited me to join his battle team to participate in the arena competition, Lin Yuan said, shaking his head. But I refused. That Heyu Ao dares? Ho Ming clicked his tongue in amazement, for Lin Yuan was one of the 13 peak masters of the Red Kuan lineage. Even Heyu Mo, the Ding Hai Divine Needle, would have to show respect upon meeting Lin Yuan. I guess it was Mr. Lin's performance in the arena that caught Heyu Ao's eye, hence his initiative to invite. After pondering for a while, Ho Ming said with a hint of emotion, The Heyu family is a massive force, but the competition is also fierce. As Heyu Mo's youngest son, Heyu Ao was born thousands or tens of thousands of years later than his brothers. Even with the family's support, it's hard for him to catch up to his brothers, so he set his sights on the arena competition. If he can support a dark horse into the top 100 of the star domain level competition, Heyu Ao will undoubtedly earn a massive fortune. At that time, his position within the Heyu family will rise along with his profits, and if he gains the favor of Heyu Mo, inheriting the position of the family head of the Heyu family might not be impossible, Ho Ming whispered. I see. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Those major families and forces appeared glamorous on the surface, but in reality, the internal struggle was extremely severe. It was even to the extent of dying if one didn't advance. Unless Heyu Ao completely gave up and didn't care about power or wealth, he would have to compete with his thousands of brothers. It wasn't only the Heyu family. The competition within the Red Kuan lineage was also extremely ruthless, with numerous standards set amongst the official and core members. Fail to meet the standards? Then step aside and let someone who can meet them take your place. Lin Yuan felt less strongly about this because he started at the level of a peak master, immediately standing at the very top of the Red Kuan lineage. Most of the Red Kuan lineage's hereditary resources were open to Lin Yuan. His task wasn't to compete with other disciples, but simply to continue his cultivation. Of course, Lin Yuan's such treatment was also won through competition, millions of heirs competing in the 7-star cave world. Even though Lin Yuan's starting point wasn't the highest, and there were 3 individuals with red patterns above him, in the end, only Lin Yuan became one of the 13 peak masters. By the way, the outside world doesn't have a very good opinion of that Heyu Ao, who will stop at nothing until he gets what he wants. Mr. Lin, since you've rejected his invitation, I'm afraid he won't let it go easily. Chapter 200 Goal, 6th rank, please subscribe, _2. If Heyu Ao really goes too far, Mr. Lin can have the other peak masters step forward, then Heyu Mo wouldn't dare to disobey the peak master's orders, Ho Ming reminded in a low voice. In front of the Red Kun lineage, the Heiyu family is subservient and humble, which isn't to say that the Heiyu family isn't strong. Rather, it's because the Red Kun lineage is too powerful, so the Heiyu family can only act in this way. But without the Red Kun lineage, the Heiyu family would be the overlord overlooking a star domain, and of the 5 major forces, the other 4 wouldn't want to offend the Heiyu family unless absolutely necessary. I understand. Lin Yuan nodded. Only, unless it's the last resort, Lin Yuan wouldn't ask his senior brothers to intervene. At the level of the Heiyu family and the peak masters of the Red Kun lineage, every action was watched by countless eyes. If Lin Yuan, hiding his true identity, was practicing on Kanglan Star and got involved in the vortex of the peak masters and the Heiyu family, it could lead to certain beings deducing something. There are myriad evolution paths in the main world of the human alliance, among which is a type named divination. This type of evolution path can deduce conclusions from known information. The appointment of the 13 peak masters of the Red Kun lineage just took place, and countless forces from outside are guessing the true identity of the 13th peak master. If at this time, a peak master intervenes and suppresses the Heiyu family, it would be a very obvious signal to those who are proficient in the divination type evolution path. Even if the senior brothers were extremely secretive, if in the end Heiyu Ao inexplicably backed off, there would still be loose ends. Of course, those who evolved through this type of divination usually lack combat power and are mostly employed by the think tank of some major forces. Why exactly did Lin Yuan refuse me? Is it because the conditions I offered weren't high enough? On the throne, Heiyu Ao was still pondering. During this time, while he was recruiting other evolvers, he couldn't stop thinking about Lin Yuan. He couldn't help remembering when he left his family to venture outside. His own father, Heiyu Mo, once gave him 2 choices. The first option was to take 10 trillion civilization coins from the family treasury. Afterward, the Heiyu family wouldn't provide much support, and if he wanted to return to the family and run for the position of clan leader, he must turn these 10 trillion civilization coins into 100 billion cosmic coins. The conversion rate between civilization coins and cosmic coins is 10,000 to 1. Meaning, Heiyu Ao needed to earn 100-fold of 10 trillion civilization coins in wealth to qualify to return to the clan. The second option was to let the family's think tank plan out a complete business map for him. Heiyu Ao only needed to eventually make 10 trillion civilization coins to return to the family and compete for the position of clan leader. In the end, Heiyu Ao chose the second option. And the think tank of the Heiyu family planned a business map for him, rooted in arena competitions. The business map was detailed, with the think tanks of the Heiyu family painstakingly picking 223 evolvers under 100 years old. These 223 evolvers all have potential not discovered by ordinary people. As long as Heiyu Ao signs these 223 evolvers and trains them for future tournaments, they are very likely to shine. And among these 223 evolvers, Lin Yuan was listed. Lin Yuan, Heiyu Ao echoed the think tank's evaluation of Lin Yuan in his mind. Just over 20 years old, he stepped into 4th rank and is in the mid to late stage of the 4th rank. Trained and nurtured, Hell reached the pinnacle of the 4th rank before the next tournament, with hopes to step into the 5th rank before reaching 100 years old. With the strength of the 5th rank, participating in the star domain level arena competitions, it's quite easy to break into the top 1,000. Heiyu Ao, must have this Lin Yuan. Heiyu Ao looked down at his subordinates and said, I've heard that geniuses are proud. You went to invite him and were rejected, but if I personally invite him, might I succeed? Young master, dressed in a black suit, the elder Bei Zhao was slightly stunned. I'm not sure, but if the young master personally invites him, that Lin Yuan would surely be very moved. With Heiyu Ao's status, personally inviting an evolver with no background and no power, the latter would indeed be moved. After all, a personal invitation signifies importance and gives face. Virtual world. A small world specially opened up. All 12 peak masters of the Red Kun lineage had gathered here. At that moment, a figure appeared. It was Lin Yuan. My fellow seniors, my cultivation delayed me, and I lost track of time. Lin Yuan's tone was apologetic as he apologized immediately. Since becoming the 13th peak master of the Red Kuan lineage, to maintain the bond among the peak masters, the eldest senior brother took the initiative to invite the other peak masters to gather together from time to time. Since it is in the virtual world, it's very convenient. A connection of consciousness is enough, and everyone usually arrives on time. Ah, our little junior brother is truly remarkable. He's not yet 100 years old and has already reached the 5th rank. Stepping into the 6th rank is just a matter of time, the eldest senior brother laughed heartily. Lin Yuan's advancement to the 5th rank was no secret, known to the Qikuan Star Lord and all 12 senior brothers. Our junior brother doesn't possess any special physiques or bloodlines, so breaking through to the 5th rank before the age of 100 is truly rare, the second senior brother nodded in approval. Within the Cosmic Human Alliance, there indeed are many inconceivable geniuses. Not to mention 5th rankers under 100, even 6th rankers have appeared before. But these geniuses all have various physiques and bloodlines. Some are born at the 3rd or 4th rank, or even the 4th or 5th rank. Their starting points are so high that there is no need for comparison. But Lin Yuan is different. Even though the 12 peak masters had not seen Lin Yuan in person, they knew from what they heard from the Qikuan Star Lord that Lin Yuan's physique and bloodlines did not have anything special. Given the pace of our junior brother's cultivation, he could attempt breaking through to the 6th rank in at most a few decades. Before breaking through to the 6th rank, our junior brother must be careful to choose a fundamental evolution path. The more suitable it is for oneself, the higher the soul's resonance, and the faster the transformation, the eldest senior brother earnestly advised. It might even aid significantly in the breakthrough from the 6th rank to the 7th rank in the future. Lin Yuan was firm in his heart. The eldest senior brother had always emphasized choosing the evolution path that was most suitable for oneself to transform through soul resonance, not necessarily the strongest. And what evolution path could be more suitable for Lin Yuan than the martial path evolutionary path from among the vast array of evolution paths mastered by human civilization? Given our junior brother's speed of cultivation, it's very possible for him to break through to the 7th rank. By then, I don't know whether we should change how we address him. The 3rd senior brother glanced at the 4th senior brother and the other 9 senior brothers. The 4th senior brother blinked. If our junior brother can break through to the 7th rank, it will strengthen the foundation of our Red Kuan lineage. I would be willing to change the way I address him. Old 3, stop teasing them, the 2nd senior brother shook his head. For a 6th rank evolver to break through to the 7th rank, they need a particular kind of opportunity. Even if Lin Yuan manages to break through to the 6th rank in a few decades, the step further into the 7th rank is not something easily achieved. Many extremity 6th rank evolvers remain stuck at this bottleneck for thousands or even tens of thousands of years until they die of old age. After an hour of conversation with his senior brothers, the gathering ended. Lin Yuan disconnected his consciousness from the virtual world and returned to reality. Central Continent Manor, underground training facility. Let's see the progress made during this period. Lin Yuan carefully sensed the degree of transformation of his soul. 20%? A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. At this rate, it would take less than 2 years, just over a year, for his soul to achieve perfect resonance. Then he would step into the 6th rank, becoming a fallen star-level powerhouse that commands respect. Chapter 201. Mediocre Talent, Too Arrogant, Subscription Requested. 5th rank evolvers who want to step into the 6th rank, the most important prerequisite is that their soul compatibility with their fundamental evolution path must reach a state of perfection. Once soul compatibility reaches 10 out of 10, the subsequent breakthrough is naturally a matter of course. However, it's easier said than done. Finding an evolution path that suits oneself, how is that an easy task? Sometimes, what seems compatible in early training may suddenly seem incompatible when reaching the 4th or 5th rank, not compatible anymore. And those evolution paths that seem full of obstacles in early training, leading evolvers to give up prematurely, may end up being compatible later on? The Cosmic Human Alliance and the three goddesses encourage citizens to initiate and develop new evolution paths, even tilting resources towards this endeavor. Apart from a supremely secret, unspeakable reason, it is to provide numerous evolvers with more choices. If one evolution path does not suit, then switch to another, and yet another. With more options, the number of 6th rank evolvers naturally increases, and once there's a sufficient base of 6th rankers, 7th and 8th rankers will continuously emerge. This creates a virtuous cycle. As for that supremely secret, unspeakable reason, it affects the top powerhouses not just of human civilization but of the entire main world universe starry sky. The martial Tao evolution path is my own creation, highly compatible with my nature, so transforming soul compatibility for other evolvers is a huge problem. They might even waste hundreds or thousands of years on it. But for me, it's just a walk in the park. Lin Yuan exhaled lightly. If he had chosen the Xian Huang evolutionary path as his fundamental evolution path, the advancement of his soul compatibility would definitely not have matched what it was now. In fact, Lin Yuan was not suitable for the Xian Huang evolutionary path, and he was completely reliant on his against heaven's understanding to cheat his way through. But in soul compatibility metamorphosis, against heaven's understanding would be of little help. It goes without saying that had he chosen the Xian Huang evolutionary path, he wouldn't even have taken the first step by now. After finishing his training, Lin Yuan walked out of the main building and onto the estate's grassy field. His parents were leisurely basking in the sun there, despite the various entertainment activities available in the virtual world. Lin Shouqing and his wife still preferred reality, and only occasionally visited the virtual world for some fun. Oh! In the sky, a streak of light was flying swiftly. Lin Yuan didn't need to look to know it was his sister, Lin. The evolution path that Lin Yi had chosen was the psychic evolution path. This evolution path was widely disseminated and did not pose difficult prerequisites to start training. One just needed higher mental strength than the average person. The psychic evolution path essentially develops an evolver's telekinetic power to interfere with reality. At the first and second layer, the attack mode of psychics is mostly physical. It involves using telekinesis to wield one or more weapons and then attacking the enemy. Similarly, psychics are among the few evolvers who can achieve alternative flight before reaching a higher rank. That is by controlling a weapon telekinetically, standing on it, and then flying with the weapon. Of course, this form of flight, whether in terms of speed or stability, falls far short of true flight. Let's see how the training goes in the future. Lin Yuan thought to himself. He did not allow Lin Yi to train in martial Tao. No matter how much potential the martial Tao evolution path held, it was not suitable for everyone. After exchanging a few words with his family, Lin Yuan returned to the underground training area in the main building. Just as Lin Yuan was about to continue refining the martial arts evolution system, the voice of the smart assistant suddenly came. Master! Mr. Ao from the Heiyu family would like to see you. Heiyu Ao? Lin Yuan sighed in his heart. After learning from Captain of the Guard Troops Ho Ming that Heiyu Ao had a relentless personality, Lin Yuan realized that refusing the invitation from the elderly man in black, Bei Zhao, didn't mean the matter was over. Let's meet. After pondering for a while, Lin Yuan still thought it best to meet and clear things up. With a well-established legal system and the three goddesses ruling from above, as long as Lin Yuan didn't agree, Heiyu Ao couldn't do anything to him. The virtual world. Personal space. Lin Yuan met Mr. Ao from the Heiyu family. He was only 1.5 meters tall but had dark patterns on his skin, emitting an aura of nobility standing there. It's said that the Heiyu family's bloodline is not purely human race but contains different species' bloodline. This phenomenon is quite common in human civilization. Procreating with powerful different species might give birth to a peerless genius. Younger brother Lin Yuan, Heiyu Ao greeted warmly. To recruit Lin Yuan and continue with the business plan laid out by the Heiyu family's think tank, Heiyu Ao had lowered his stance as much as possible. He longed to return to his family, longed to sit on the throne of the patriarch second only to one. Mr. Ao. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Both men took their seats. Heyu Ao didn't go straight to the point but instead diverted the topic. These years, I've often watched arena competition videos and realized that our human civilization truly has so many talents. Like in the Dark Spirit Star domain, a peerless genius was born, awaking the dark elf bloodline and naturally feeling an extraordinary closeness to the laws of darkness. Such aptitude, casually cultivating any Dark Series evolutionary route, can easily transition from 5th to 6th rank during soul metamorphosis, and reaching the 7th rank in the future is also highly probable. TSK. Chapter 202, Mediocre Talent, Too Arrogant, Subscription Requested, _2 Heyu Ao said with a smile. Indeed, there are too many geniuses in the universe. Lin Yuan nodded, deeply agreeing. After becoming the 13th Peak Master under the Chikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan browsed through intelligence information from various regions of the universe. Given the vast population base, it was possible that incredibly monstrous geniuses could emerge. However, no matter how high their potential may be, geniuses are merely geniuses, not strong warriors. Every year, countless geniuses of human civilization are assassinated by different species. The more talented one is, the more they need to be patient and keep a low profile until they have achieved significant strength and stepped into the 6th rank. But no matter how talented, one still needs vast resources to support them, otherwise, their talents can only go to waste. Heyu Ao looked at Lin Yuan. Right. Talent is important. Resources are very important as well. Lin Yuan nodded. Why has human civilization been able to produce one strong warrior after another? Isn't it because human civilization has always been in a state of expansion, constantly seizing a large number of resources from other species and then channeling them to their own strong warriors? Lin Yuan, my brother, you haven't joined any other forces yet, have you? Are you interested in joining under my command? Having said that, Heyu Ao immediately added, Lin Yuan, my brother, don't be too quick to refuse. 80 years, all I ask is that you serve under me for 80 years. Heyu Ao spoke earnestly, after 80 years, you are free to leave at any time. And during these 80 years, you can enjoy numerous resources that will smooth your evolutionary path. Many evolutionary paths? You could view any of the evolutionary paths collected by the Heyu family, rare treasures of the universe, cosmic treasures, and countless evolution secret techniques. Lin Yuan, my brother, just say the word, and I will collect and purchase them for you. Heyu Ao sincerely looked at Lin Yuan. In reality, most of the conditions he mentioned were empty promises. The various evolution paths collected by the Heyu family? Even he had to pay a hefty price just to browse, let alone Lin Yuan, an outsider? But at this moment, Heyu Ao could no longer afford to care about these details. He had to secure Lin Yuan under his command first, and talk about signing a contract. As for browsing the evolution paths of the Heyu family, he had not mentioned how long it would take, had he? And serving for 80 years, Heyu Ao had not lied. After 80 years, Lin Yuan would be over 100 years old, ineligible to participate in the arena competitions, and Heyu Ao wouldn't mind letting Lin Yuan go. Serve for 80 years? Lin Yuan's face was expressionless. After 80 years, he estimated he would have already stepped into the 7th rank. Would he serve a disciple of the Heyu family? I already suppressed them so much in the arena competition, yet Heyu Ao still values me this much and is so tenacious. Lin Yuan felt somewhat helpless. He knew that Heyu Ao and those powerful financial families invited him solely because of his performance in the arena competition. However, Heyu Ao might have realized that Lin Yuan had hidden some of his strength during the arena competition, which is why he valued him so highly and extended a personal invitation. Lin Yuan, my brother, what do you think? Heyu Ao looked at Lin Yuan expectantly. He believed he had done enough, not only making a personal invitation but also offering more generous conditions, and even reducing the service time to 80 years. Mr. Ao? Looking at Heyu Ao, Lin Yuan said, I'm not interested in the arena competition, Mr. Ao. There's no need for you to spend your efforts on that. Ah. Heyu Ao was somewhat befuddled. Rejected. Lin Yuan had actually rejected him. Even after Heyu had shown so much sincerity, he was still refused? Heyu fell silent. The previously enthusiastic expression quickly turned cold. Heyu was never a warm person in the first place. Everything just now had been a facade to show how much he valued the situation. But since Lin Yuan had outright refused, there was naturally no need to continue the pretense. Lin Yuan, are you sure about your decision? Heyu asked once more. I'm sure. Lin Yuan nodded. As the 13th peak master of the Red Kuan lineage, it was simply impossible for him to join the Heyu family, let alone Heyu command. Very well. Heyu stood up. So much enthusiasm, so much attention, and it actually came in exchange for Lin Yuan's unhesitant rejection? This gave Heyu the feeling of having his sincerity misplaced. In terms of importance, Lin Yuan was not the most important among the more than 200 evolvers under 100 years old in the think tank of the Heyu family. But he was the first to explicitly reject the invitation of Heyu. Ordinary talent, too arrogant. Heyu took a deep look at Lin Yuan, whispered these words, and then his figure disappeared into his personal space. Considering the level of the Heyu family, the talent of a 4th rank like Lin Yuan, who was under 100 years old, was not top-notch. Of course, it had nothing to do with ordinary talent. Nevertheless, Heyu was annoyed and felt that Lin Yuan's arrogance was much heavier in comparison to his talent. He's still thoroughly offended. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. No wonder the little disciple that teacher took 10,000 years ago would eventually expose his identity on his own initiative. Actually, facing the last few threats from Heyu just now, Lin Yuan also wanted to reveal his identity as the peak master of Shursan. Then, watching Heyu panic and beg for mercy on his knees, even Heyu, the 7th rank evolver of the Heyu family, would have to come and apologize. But if it came to that, the outcome of that little disciple teacher took 10,000 years ago might be what Lin Yuan would face afterwards. Detected by different species through subtle clues, then subjected to frenzied assassination attempts. I've been low-key enough. Lin Yuan rubbed his temples. From becoming an evolver to now reaching the extreme of 5th rank, Lin Yuan had never left Kanglin's star and had tried as much as possible to avoid causing trouble. Which normal 5th rank evolver has not traveled through half of the star domain or several star domains. Although 5th rank evolvers cannot survive in space, human civilization's technology is strong enough to allow them to traverse the stars aboard space battleships. Even many 6th rank evolvers' primary mode of travel is to board battleships. This is also the mainstream mode of transportation in current human civilization. But Lin Yuan hasn't even left the planet to this day. And yet he was still sought out by Heyu. If it were just an invitation from an ordinary financial power, it would have been just another rejection, but Heyu came on behalf of the Heyu family, and the Heyu family is one of the 5 major forces in the Chikuan star domain. Actually, even if I reject Heyu, it's highly unlikely that anything will happen. Heyu, no matter how bold, probably wouldn't dare to make a move in reality, Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. The various laws and regulations of cosmic human civilizations strictly forbid higher-rank evolvers from striking at other citizens without cause. If one violates this, severe punishment is assured. If Heyu dared to strike at Lin Yuan in secret, he would have a hard time evading the investigation of the 3 goddesses afterward. Heyu would pay a severe price if he didn't die, possibly implicating the Heyu family too. Just that, one fears not the 10,000, but the what if? What if Heyu really went crazy? Lin Yuan considered things very comprehensively. After realizing that he had thoroughly offended Heyu, he began contacting his eldest senior brother. As for why not the teacher? Should Lin Yuan have offended Heyu, the 7th rank evolver of the Heyu family, he might have sought help from his teacher. But Heyu? He's not worth the teacher's intervention. The Chikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan's teacher, had already given him enough help. Lin Yuan did not want to trouble his teacher with such a small matter. Virtual world. Lin Yuan arrived in his eldest senior brother's personal space. The eldest senior brother was the earliest disciple taken by the Chikuan Star Lord. He was also the strongest disciple, stepping into 7th rank early on and has always been a role model for the other peak masters to learn from. Little junior brother? Why do you have time to seek me out? The eldest senior brother spoke warmly, looking at Lin Yuan with joy radiating from his face. Having accompanied the Qikuan Star Lord for the longest time, he knew well how much the Star Lord valued Lin Yuan. To the eldest senior brother, it was a good thing that Lin Yuan took the initiative to find him, as it could strengthen the bond between brothers. Eldest senior brother, there is an issue for which I need your help. Lin Yuan started to speak. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.